One more year for Dak Prescott in Dallas. It's looking like that might be the case. This team doesn't necessarily believe in Dak Prescott right now going into a contract year. And they're not too concerned about signing him to an extension. Trey Lance is the backup. The team, everybody, the media was questioning whether this was the right fit or the right pieces in place for this Dallas Cowboys team that had an embarrassing exit of the 2023/2024 playoff bracket. And we're here to merely discuss what's in store for CeeDee Lamb. If this is the case, do we think Dak will step up and get a big fat payday off of a pressure year where his back is essentially against the wall and he's got to potentially, deliver or go elsewhere in 2025. We'll break that down and more. The Fantasy Football Show, breaking news show, 8 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday show begins right now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios.
It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live!
Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com news desk, here is your breaking news.
Yo, welcome to the show. One more year is essentially what the Dallas Cowboys are saying to Dak Prescott unless he proves otherwise and demands a bag at the end of 2024. And he could definitely, do that. He definitely could do that. But I think what everybody needs to realize is that if he doesn't deliver, the Dallas Cowboys want no more. That's abundantly clear. And if you disagree with that, then you don't realize the state of the Dallas Cowboy fan base and ownership, because even coming off a very successful season where Dak Prescott, and to be honest with you, to be frank with you, was fantastic, but he doesn't close out big games in the playoff, doesn't win consecutive playoff games, isn't the guy that's going to bring home a championship in the eyes of many. I'm not saying there aren't a lot of Dallas Cowboy fans, and I'll even throw myself in this bucket to say that, can you get better though? Is it really about you win a championship or it's Dak's fault? Or is it really about this team's good enough to win a championship and it is Dak's fault? Because I don't know, in some cases you can just make things better by changing out a player that's playing good and the rest of the team isn't doing what it needs to do to help carry him. He can't carry the team the entire way. Same thing with Lamar Jackson in Baltimore. Look, the Baltimore Ravens needed something. It brought in Derrick Henry. You can't ask a quarterback to put the entire team on his shoulders for consecutive games in playoff contention and competition and expect them to not falter. That's the problem with Dak Prescott. Dak is going through these consecutive games trying to carry himself while the Dallas Cowboys don't run the ball. I'm not saying Dak's the answer. I'm not saying if you keep Dak, you win a Super Bowl as a Dallas Cowboy fan. But I'm also trying to just merely suggest that the grass is always greener, and Dak Prescott being replaced may not even be the actual answer. It could be, but who you're replacing him with? Is it Sanders, the 2025 number 1 overall rookie quarterback? Is it Deion Sanders' son? That's what a lot of people are saying. Can you even get him? How are you going to secure that quarterback? So everybody in Dallas land that's been talking that up, that's a big storyline. Well, we want Shedeur Sanders. We want him in here. He want to be his core. You got to trade up to get the pick. You're going to have a better season than that. And so the question marks will continue to pile up and mount as people try and figure out how to get an upgrade from their situation. The Cardinals are in the same boat. Are the Cardinals better off without Kyler Murray? No. Can Kyler Murray win a Super Bowl? I don't know, to be honest with you. But I'm not going to replace him with a lesser option and expect a change. I got to really feel like we're getting a top 5 overall quarterback, a Stroud, a quarterback in that realm, a Jaden Daniels. If you were to maybe do something like that, I could understand the concept of, and there are some rumors right now that the Cardinals are toying around with all different ideas, but it's the Kyler Murray rumors that have recently surfaced are merely speculative predictions and what-if scenarios that fan bases and beat writers are concocting. This is not coming out of Arizona. Arizona has no desire to trade Kyler Murray. If they had the number 1 overall pick, you would definitely see the Cardinals contemplating something similar to Chicago. If Chicago had the 4 pick, I bet you they would have kept Fields. It's the same song and dance. The Arizona Cardinals are not considering trading Kyler Murray at this moment in time, but people are kicking around the concepts, the what-ifs. What if the Vikings traded the 11 and 23 for Kyler or something along those lines? Not going to happen, but as a Cardinal fan, as somebody in Arizona, you might ask me, hey, Smitty, do you feel very similar about Kyler as Dallas Cowboy fans and even outside people feel about Dak Prescott in Dallas? The answer is yeah. The answer is not everybody has a top 5 quarterback. And is obvious as this sounds, there are only 5 top 5 quarterbacks. I know that's a shocker. Sit back. Relax. I know. Take a moment and take that in. There are only 5 top 5 quarterbacks. I'm not saying you can't win a championship without a top 5 quarterback. I'm merely saying when you have the 2 teams that are in front of you, the Arizona Cardinals and the Dallas Cowboys. Now, the Cardinals are about to get, hopefully, Marvin Harrison Jr. and change a lot of what that team looks like. Can they win a Super Bowl with Kyler? I said I don't know. I didn't say no. I said I don't know. If the Cardinals bring in Marvin Harrison Jr., they're in the works of creating something special, and then we got to see what other moves they make. But can the Dallas Cowboys win a 2025 or 2026 NFL Super Bowl? I don't think so. And replacing Dak may or may not fix that. It depends who you bring in. Are there any readily available top 5 quarterbacks? The only shot you have is to find a diamond in the rough in the NFL draft. So whether it be Sanders, if you could somehow trade the farm to go get Sanders, if that's the guy you believe to be the number 1 quarterback coming out of the 2025 NFL draft class. We'll get to that later. Deion Sanders' son, a lot of hype. It's gonna be fun to watch that QB race in the 2025 NFL draft class. But right now, you could say, is Kyler Murray better than the idea of Jaden Daniels? I don't know, but Jaden Daniels does give you the option to maybe be better than both Dak and Kyler. Those are the only avenues you really have. Dallas is set on their quarterback. It is Dak Prescott. No one wants him. No one's trading for Dak Prescott. The Dallas Cowboys have no other options at this point. Jerry Jones has already come out and said very clearly, and I can put that on screen right here. Jerry Jones came out and very clearly said this in regards to the Dak Prescott contract situation. This coming from Ian Rappaport. The Cowboys and Dak Prescott have a mutual understanding of his contract situation, sources say, with no offers from Dallas despite him being in a contract year. Owner Jerry Jones said, quote, "We are where we are, locked and loaded for this year. No indication a deal is coming." That is Jerry Jones telling you, we are not worried or scared about losing him. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Maybe this is what he needs. Maybe this is what he needs to feel like he has no other way to go. This is it. What's in front of him is in front of him. Like I've said with Fields, back against the wall, nothing to look over his shoulder about. You could say he's looking over his shoulder about Trey Lance, whatever. That is an argument to be made. Maybe he's not completely back against the wall. He's got a little bit of a looking over his shoulder, and people might laugh at that. But what Dak needs to do is fight for his life. What Dak needs to do is fight for a contract. Contract years can sometimes bring out the best seasons in players in the NFL or in any sport. When you're in a contract year, you're fighting for your life. Maybe that's what Dak Prescott needs. If you give him a big fat bag, my guess is like what happens a lot of the time. A player gets a big fat bag, they have a very bad next season. It's not always the case. It's not an exact science. There is definitely some reasons why that happens and some coincidences why that happens, but it definitely does not feel like the move to make. No matter how scared you are, you could lose Dak. You clearly don't feel good enough about him now that if you're wrong, he goes and balls out again. You're really saying right now our judgment is that we wouldn't even be that upset if we lost him. We'll offer him a contract. Maybe he wants to stay with CD. He's had success in Dallas. Maybe he'll give him a hometown discount. I don't think they're all that worried. Not to mention, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'll have to look on his contract here. I don't think he has I think he could be franchise tagged. Dak Prescott contract. Let's just pull this up live and make sure we are assessing this contract properly, because that's what we do here on the Fantasy Football Show. First and foremost, here is his contract details. If anybody wants to see those bad boys on screen, here we go. Details coming up, dropping, boom, here we go. That's not it. That's Josh Jacobs, who might I add, is going to have an outstanding year in 2024. Let's give this man a proper standing ovation. Okay, so where were we? We'll come to Josh Jacobs in a second. Let's put this contract on screen. This is Dak Prescott's current NFL contract. Let's try screenshotting this one more time, because apparently that didn't work the first time. Here we go. Dacky boy. Here is your contract. Josh Jacobs, he crept up on us right there. Just like that. You know what? Josh Jacobs is kind of fitting. Him creeping up on us in terms of landing a landing spot in Green Bay, which is phenomenal. He's going to have a top 5 to 10 running back season. Maybe we'll call it top 6 to 10. There's not enough room in the top 5 to throw anybody else out. We'll call it 6 to 10. Top 6 to 10, even if you want 7 to 10, whatever. Top 10 running back season for Jacobs. But he crept up on us right there, crept up on us with the landing spot. Here's Dak's contract, 2025, as you can see down here at the bottom left with the blue little unrestricted free agent button at the bottom left, little blue box, 2025. He's getting paid $29 million this year in base salary with a $13.2 million signing bonus. And this is a contract year. And as far as him being able to be franchise tagged, let me see if I can find out any details. Fully guaranteed $95 million signing bonus, $31 million fully guaranteed on 3/2022, 2024 roster bonus of $5 million, annual $500,000, missing workouts, de-escalator, no tag clause. No tag clause. No trade clause. No tag clause. There you go. That's why we check these things live. That is why we check these things live, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. No tag clause. No trade clause. So this really is we don't trust you, Dak type of year, because that guy can't get tagged. No tag clause, no trade clause. He'd have to approve a trade, and he can't get tagged. So if Dak craps the bed this year, the Dallas Cowboys are letting him walk. If Dak balls out this year, he can't be tagged. He may give a hometown discount. The Dallas Cowboys may regret it, but I don't believe the Dallas Cowboys will in any way, shape, or form be all that upset, because their current assessment right now, after as many years as Dak has played football in Dallas, they don't feel comfortable giving him the bag. And if they lose him, so be it. If they lose him, so be it. If they win a Super Bowl and Dak steps up, which I don't think will happen, but if they did, then Dak might consider saying, you know what, we got something special here. I'm staying. I'm signing a deal here. And Jerry would throw the bag at him. All Jerry wants is a Super Bowl. I don't know that Jerry really knows what he's doing anymore anyway. Because when they saw Jerry Jones, he was hard at work. I don't know what conference this was at, or whether it was the Combine, or they showed a photo of Jerry and he was taking notes. And he was just like crazy, going like this, like crazy. Just completely taking notes. Then the camera panned down at his notebook, and his notebook looked like this. There was just lines everywhere on Jerry Jones's notebook. He does it. I don't think he knows where he is half the time. I think he wants a Super Bowl bad. He fell asleep during the beginning of free agency. They let all the running backs go. Henry, Barkley, Jacobs, it didn't appear that they were interested in bringing in a bruising back when that was what they needed to do to solve the problems. When you ask me what is going to solve the problem, having a little bit more balanced attack, or at least the threat of at any moment you could go full balance mode. Because when you get into the playoffs and you're staring at the face of these teams that are very balanced, that have good defenses, you're not going to have the luxury of saying, Dak, carry us through consecutive games without faltering. You have to lean on the run. Dowdle is not the guy. And maybe they draft a rookie, maybe they don't. I'm pretty sure they will. I'm pretty sure the number one rookie running back in fantasy football 2024 will be on the Dallas Cowboys roster, meaning whoever lands there will become the most sought after 2024 rookie because it is the best landing spot. But I doubt that he works out. Not the rookie running back, but Dowdle. Dowdle's not it. I doubt him very much. And if you bring in Braylon Allen, I'd almost say
You've just been Smitty approved.
the reason I won't Smitty approve Braylon Allen or Jalen Wright or Blake Corum or Bucky Irving or Lloyd or any of the other running backs that they could bring in, all very, very closely ranked. Like the landing spot makes them the number one. That's how close it is. The reason I'm not giving the Cowboys a smashing is because they should have taken care of this through a veteran. Jacobs was there. Henry didn't even get a call. Derrick Henry said they didn't even reach out to him. The Dallas Cowboys, who walked off the field, and Jerry Jones himself said, I don't know what we're going to do. I'm disgusted right now. I don't know if we got to shake things up. I'm not sure. He didn't shake things up at all. You don't bring in Jacobs or Barkley or even call Derrick Henry. You're going to rely on what I believe to be a pretty underrated running back or two in this draft class, but one of the very, very widely accepted weakest running back classes we've seen in a long time. You're relying upon that to get you over said hump and to help carry you when Dak can't carry you every single game consecutively. Dallas completely screwed the pooch. Do I think that CeeDee Lamb goes to the moon? Absolutely love CeeDee Lamb. Why would I not love CeeDee Lamb? What kind of moron do you think I am that I don't love my boy CeeDee Lamb? Of course I love. Where's my CeeDee Lamb button when I need it?
Get lambed.
Of course I love CeeDee Lamb. You don't think I think CeeDee Lamb's going to the moon in 2024 or Saturn?
To Saturn.
Out of your mind. However, CeeDee Lamb dropping top 1, 2, or 3 wide receiver numbers doesn't mean that the Dallas Cowboys are setting themselves up to win a Super Bowl. Cowboys have crapped the bed. The Cowboys should have brought in Barkley or Jacobs or Henry, and that's why I, Smitty, disapprove the Dallas Cowboys.
You've just been Smitty disapproved.
And I don't want to hear about cap. I don't want to hear about the cap. I don't want to hear about a fictitious number that can be manipulated and moved around. The Niners had no cap space. 2 reconstructed contracts. They were middle of the pack in the league. So I don't want to hear about the contracts. I don't want to hear about the money. I don't want to hear about any of that. It is a fabrication. It is a fugazi, the salary cap. To a degree, yeah, you run out of flexibility and manipulation of it. But I don't want to hear about the Dallas Cowboys didn't have money to bring in a running back that costs a little bit more than a rookie. I don't want to hear it because that's a really bad argument. I saw a couple of those. I don't know who wrote them, but you might want to take that back because it's not good. It's not good. It's not a good look. Josh Jacobs, this man right here, is going to have a day. And when I say a day, I mean 17 of them. And when I say 17 of them, I may even mean a couple more in the playoff. Who knows how many playoff games this guy wins? This guy's going to have a day times 18, 19, whatever the hell it is. Packers head coach Matt LaFleur said that the team would use Josh Jacobs as a pass catcher out of the backfield, this is not like news, but the fact that you finally hear confirmation of it brings everything together. This is a top 6, 7 to 10 running back in 2024. Arguably Moonman material because his value is crazy. In fact, I kind of feel like
to the moon. The moon men dropping loads in outer space.
Space Monsters.
I give you Moon Man number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I give you Moon Man number 5. Spontaneous. Do it live.
The moon men dropping loads in outer space.
Space Monsters.
Mashed potatoes!
That's how we do it. That is how we do it. That is how we do it. All right. Where we go? Back to news. What else we got here? We got Jacobs. We got what is this right here? Oh yeah, look, the Steelers are pretty crafty. And I don't like the fact that Arthur Smith is putting Cordarrelle Patterson in the running back room in Pittsburgh. Oh boy, here goes your goal line back. There goes Najee Harris's goal line carries. There goes Jaylen Warren's receptions. Cordarrelle Patterson has been brought in to be a Pittsburgh Steeler returner running back, special teams returner potentially. Look, this is a smart move. The Steelers continue to make very nice moves. I don't know how much this guy's got left in the tank, but with the new rules today that dropped about the kickoffs, the NFL kickoff rules, you got to think to yourself that this is a marvelous potential move. Owners approve a massive revamp of the kickoff play, opting for a format originated in the XFL. So essentially what happens, for anybody that doesn't know, let's do a little lesson on the kickoff, because I bet you a lot of you don't really fully, know what's up with this. Okay, so here's midfield. Okay, and then here's the end zone. And here's the end zone. So essentially what happens is you have to kick it into the zone, the kickoff zone. The defense will line up on the 40-yard, or the defense lines up on the 40-yard line. The offense lines up, I believe, between the 40. I think the defense lines up between the 35 and 40-yard line. The offense has to receive the ball in the target zone, which is inside the 20-yard line. If the ball goes into the end zone, then, and let's say it's a touchback or whatever, the ball doesn't come to the 25-yard line or 20-yard line. It goes to the 35-yard line. So it's no longer advantageous to kick the ball out of the end zone, okay? So you're going to kick it into this target zone inside the 20, and the player will then proceed to return it. So you're going to have the ball most likely getting advanced to the 35-yard line or greater. The average, I would guess, would be probably about 35 yards anyway, 35 to 40 yards anyway, which means that we're going to have a shorter field. It's good and bad. There's going to be a lot more scoring. Scoring is going to be massively up because teams will be starting at the 35-yard line or greater every single time they touch the football. I'm a little torn on it. I don't like how the kickoffs have become irrelevant in the NFL. I don't like that at all. So I like the fact that kickoffs are becoming relevant again. The only thing you could say is that I don't like the fact that the NFL let it get to this point anyway. They dumbed down all the rules so that the kickoffs aren't important anymore. And we're so excited about them being important, we don't realize the way they're trying to make them relevant again. But they're trying to up the scoring. They want scoring higher. This is a fantasy football, this has implications. You talk about quarterbacks throwing for 40 touchdowns. We're going to have multiple quarterbacks throwing for 40 touchdowns. A lot of 40 TD quarterbacks are in the cards now because you got the shorter field to work with. A lot more potential, rushing touchdowns, a lot more receiving touchdowns, a lot of touchdowns across the board. Maybe in some cases less yards in some categories. Maybe it doesn't affect it too much because teams are scoring quicker and back on the field. So we don't really know what the ramifications will be for the yardage. It will be higher scoring though. It'll be higher scoring, and the teams that focus on this returner here, I think are going to have a huge advantage because teams are forced to kick the ball into this 20-yard line to the goal line territory because they don't want the team starting on the 35-yard line every time. Unless, of course, teams start advancing this football so much further than the 35-yard line every single time that a team does want the team to get the football at the 35-yard line. I don't know how it's going to really shake out. There's a real good chance that that's the way it happens, and teams are like, kick this ball out and let's get them on the 35-yard line every single time. Because they're, you start off at the 50-yard line every time you get the football. What's it going to look like? Point being, Cordarrelle Patterson could be a very, very good signing. Teams that focus on that returner might be very smart in 2024. So it will be very, very interesting. And I'm very curious as to whether or not teams are going to advance past the 35 on the regular or slightly under the 35-yard line. Like if you kick the ball, I imagine this has been used before in the XFL, right? So they have a lot of data on it. I imagine that if you start getting the football to land right about here, you're getting good at kicking the ball. You get really accurate to getting that football around the 5-yard line or so, that the player is going to return it, obviously. And if your defense can stop them right at the 30 to 35-yard line, you're going to, on the regular, not want to kick this thing out of the end zone or anything like that. But I do wonder if a couple teams are so good at advancing this thing past the 35-yard line, there will be teams that just say, we're not playing the return game still. And then we got a problem there. But crazy. Lesser potential yard production, maybe. Definitely higher scoring games. Definitely more touchdowns going to be scored in the NFL. Definitely more teams going for it on fourth down. Think about all the ramifications here. If you're getting the ball on the 35, 40-yard line, you're going for it a lot more. There are teams that will rarely kick field goals and punt the football. Punts are going to go way down. That's the NFL's goal. You're not going to punt it. You're going to go for it. You're on the 40-yard line right here across the field. I'm sorry, I'm not even showing my screen. You march this ball down just with a first down or two, and you're on the 40-yard line. You're going to have a lot of turnovers on downs where teams are taking the football back over. Not to mention, you end up scoring a field goal or kicking the ball off again. You're giving this team the ball right around this 35 to 40-yard line anyway. So you can't even make sense of this. It looks like a big spaghetti mash right here. I'm sorry. You can't even read any of this anymore. Let's erase that. Let's get rid of that garbage. Any other piece of news that I've got floating around? Let's see. I've got this one right here. NFL is moving the trade deadline to week 9. Steelers propose moving the deadline back a week. NFL is moving the trade deadline to week 9. That's interesting. I do like that. I don't mind that at all. There's nothing weird about that. I mean, the longer teams have to trade, the better, in my opinion. So I don't hate that at all. Calvin Ridley, Brian Callahan said Calvin Ridley's role will be very similar to Jamar Chase's role in the Bengals offense. This is great news. It might get me back on board, Calvin Ridley. I don't know what it is, man. I'm worried that if I don't want to double down on him, but I certainly loved him last year. I'm going to have to reassess this a little bit. I'm a little bit more optimistic, but it depends on where he's going to go. It truly does. If he's going to go really high in a draft, then I think I'd be out. But if he's going to be a bargain, I don't know. Maybe I need to rethink my Calvin Ridley value. Josh Jacobs, where I got that one out of the way. Fantastic. Jacobs to the moon. And what else we got? I think that might be all she wrote. I think I've got everything. Dak. Already addressed that. That's it. Phone lines are open.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Dial in. Your boy is here to answer the call. Thank you to my top super chatters of the year. If you haven't seen who they are, here you go.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Ray G 250, Perps 299. Those are in one live stream. Highest single live stream super chat 299 and Ray G 250. If anybody wants to top that, drop it and I'll put you in place of them. This is January through March. Actually, I need to amend that. January through March. All right, there we go. Actually, you know what we were supposed to do is put the highest super chatter here of each month. That's why I had that. So we need a new one for March. We need somebody to knock off, and you don't have to beat this number, but whoever is the highest super chat today will be placed here because this is supposed to be monthly. So that's my bad on that. Dial into the show, guys. I'm here to answer your questions regarding anything you got going on, but I would love to specifically try and delve into a couple of these topics if you call in. So if you got something relating to one of the pieces of news today, whether it be, Ridley or Dak, especially Dak, or maybe some of the news from yesterday and Aiyuk or whatever, hit me with it. Dial in. Appreciate you. Your boy's here to answer the call. Because it affects special teams players who are the gunners. I'm not sure what Jeff is arguing there, but I'm sure a lot of people are not going to be completely happy about the new rules. I mean, people hate change, and it does affect the stats, Like, you start talking about who's the best quarterback in NFL history, and you got all these different rules and confines of rules, and now you can't even tackle anymore. I mean, how are you ever going to say, oh, he's the best quarterback of all time statistically? Like, how can you do that? Or how can you say, oh, he's a better running back? Look at his stats in 2029. When you start looking at this stuff, you can't really use it anymore. You can't really compare generational stats anymore because everything's changed, man. Ridley's role might be the same as Chase, but his production will be far less, says Robert. Definitely probably accurate there. Yeah, Travis says, trying to tell people Ridley will be good, not amazing, but good. I think it depends where his value is. I don't want to get overhyped by a comment. You know what I mean? Like, I very much have my concerns about Ridley, and I don't want to double down on something I don't feel ultra confident on. I'll double down on Fields because I don't mind. First of all, it's my opinion. I don't. Somebody was in my comments yesterday saying, have I issued an apology yet about Chiga Conquo? I said, I'm still drafting it. I'm continuously revamping my apology letter. I'll let you know when I'm ready to apologize. I'm missing a player. I'm not scared to double down on anybody. I don't know that I want to double down on a player that I don't know how I feel about. Am I writing him off? No. Is Ridley a bust to me in 2024? No. Not even close to a bust. I just don't know how I feel about him. And so, it depends on where he goes. Definitely not a moon man, Huffman. No. NFL, like the NBA, it's heading that way. Completely different game. Flag football. It's becoming flag football. I do believe the hip drop tackle, to the letter of the law on the hip drop tackle, is bad. But my problem is it going to be properly looked at? Is anybody holding down a player at all going to be considered a hip drop tackle? Like, I think if you were to land on their legs, it's different, but I don't know how it's going to be assessed on the field. Like, the attempt of a hip drop tackle is going to be an actual, like, you saw somebody do it and and someone gets injured from it, because it's not a good play. It is a very, very, like, dirty feeling play for sure. But the tackles that live in the same family, I don't want them being dragged into this so that you cannot tackle a player from the side or behind. Everybody's afraid to get fined. No moon man for Dak Prescott. What do you think, Alejandro? Has he got a Cowboy? He's probably got a Cowboys hat on, doesn't he? What do you mean a moon man for Dak? Is this a Cowboys hat? Let's see what he's wearing. I don't know. No, he's not a moon man. I'm sorry, Alejandro. I didn't mean to break your heart, but Dak Prescott's not a moon man. Not going to happen. He could with like I said, with no contract, maybe he fights for his life. Contract years do wonders for people. Try tackling Derrick Henry, Matt O says. He's getting older too, though, so I don't know. I don't know how Derrick Henry's going to look all year long. Certainly excited to see it, though. Certainly excited to see it. Chargers getting MHJ. Not if the Cardinals don't trade down. So you got a big obstacle in your way, pal. But the Cardinals are very open-minded to trading. So if anybody trades up to get a QB, then yeah, the Chargers will be able to get MHJ. But don't be shocked if Harbaugh also does something crazy, bro. The Cardinals trading out of the 4 pick seems a little more likely than the Chargers trading out of the 5, but the Chargers are very capable of going in a weird direction. I don't know. Their trending so far has been not what you want. It's not what you want. If you're a Charger fan, what they've been doing has not been exactly in line with what you would think would be happening. So don't be shocked if they continue that course. I don't know. But if he goes there, it's a great landing spot. There's no one else there to consume targets. Quentin Johnston's not anything to worry about. Anyone trading for the 4 is going MHJ. I don't know that I'd say that. I mean, it's certainly a possibility, but I believe that the thinking is any team that goes to get 4 is going to draft one of the quarterbacks, because the major prediction by most people is that it's going QB. And it can't go 4 straight QBs if the Cardinals remain in the 4. But it wouldn't shock me if a team equally wanted Marvin Harrison Jr. So I don't think you're wrong, but I think it's 50-50. I think whatever team lands in that 4 pick, depends if they need a quarterback. If they need a quarterback and it's the Vikings are taking a quarterback. They're not taking, obviously, Marvin Harrison Jr. The most likely teams to trade into that 4 pick, from what I gather, are QB-needy teams. So maybe I wouldn't even put it 50-50. I'd say more like 60 to 70% chance that number 4, if the Cardinals trade it, will be a quarterback. That would be my guess. Herbert to Marvin Harrison would be fantasy dream, says Jeff. It would. It would. It will be crazy. McCarthy is drawing that much hype. Oh yeah, Huffman. He's a lot of teams' number 2 right now. So McCarthy is probably going ahead of Drake May at this point. At this moment, Drake May is the 4th quarterback. Or Jaden Daniels could fall, but I don't think he will. I think Jaden Daniels, his pro day's tomorrow. Get ready for the party. Runner Boy says, I think the McCarthy hype is smoke. I don't think so. I think that it's not correct. Like, I think it's going to end up, I'm not saying he's a bust by any means. He's a good quarterback, but it's overhyped. You might have to pick MHJ in the first round. He'll be a top around 2 guy. Could he climb to 1? Maybe 12. He could be 11, 12 overall. I easily could see it. McCarthy's not good enough to go in the top 5. I agree with you, but the NFL apparently doesn't. Sick Nasty says McCarthy is that dude. He loves him. Smitty's the great one. Thank you, Marty. Appreciate you. You're the great one. You're the great one, pal. Herbert to Neighbors all day long as well. That's going to be fine by you. I think Odunze as well. Odunze I love. I'm hoping Odunze doesn't fall victim to the bad landing spots. I don't know. Because the Cardinals, if they stay put, good. Marvin Harrison Jr., smash. I love it from a Cardinal perspective. I love it from a fantasy perspective equally. LAC, Neighbors or Odunze. Right now, it feels like Neighbors. It could go Bowers, but you never know. That's what I'm saying. Like, people need to realize that you don't know what the Chargers are doing. You really don't. They're a run-heavy team, and you have no clue. We want MHJ. We think it should be MHJ, but let me tell you something. Harbaugh doesn't think like you and I do. Not saying that in a bad way. I'm just saying he's building something different than you and I expect. Giants will probably take the other receiver if they don't go QB, but I have a feeling they go QB. If let's say McCarthy is still there, and you got to also think if the Cardinals take MHJ and May does go number 3 and JD goes number 2, and I don't know what New England's going to do. New England could also trade out. If JD5 doesn't fall to New England, they could trade out, and the team that comes in could not like McCarthy. So if it went Drake May at 3, Cardinals take MHJ, Neighbors goes 5, Giants are taking McCarthy at 6 without a hesitation. With all the hype, they're going to be pressured into doing it. So Odunze could go to the Giants, probably won't. Tennessee probably won't take him. They don't necessarily need a wide receiver, despite him being, elite player that I would go after no matter what. Atlanta Falcons, look, Mooney and Rondell are good, but they still might go Odunze. We don't know. Chicago, hope to God they don't take Odunze. Please. Jets, Mike Williams probably suffices for them. I don't think they go. Minnesota won't. Denver could. I think they go QB though. Knicks or Penix Jr. LV. I quietly like Odunze and LV because Adams has a little time left. But that's more of a long-term play. I won't love it this year. New Orleans, I don't want him there. We got to feed Olave. Indy would be ideal for Odunze. If he fell, you kind of feel the falling vibe, right? The falling vibe is there. We're literally going, maybe they don't take Odunze. Maybe they don't take Odunze. You literally can go all the way down and he feels like maybe Odunze falls. Maybe he's just a faller, not because of his talent or doubt, but because team need. You just kind of go one after the other. It's just one of those like one foot in front of the other type of situations where Indy gets Odunze and he becomes the number 1 wide receiver in Indy immediately. I don't care what any Pittman owner wants to believe. Odunze would shine in Indy. Absolutely. Just explode. Bowers would be good too, but he probably will not fall to 15. Odunze's got a little bit better chance to fall to 15 than Bowers. Bowers is amazing. Bowers could go to the Jets. Bowers could go to the Broncos. Bowers could go to... I'd take him in Atlanta. I'm crazy. Give me the Doubles. I literally, I wouldn't even hesitate. I don't care what anybody says. You can't shoot Kyle Pitts. I can. Watch me. Watch me. Gibbs ADP's around 30. Gibbs' ADP was around 30, says Runner Boy. Okay, was. Was is the key word. We got Bunchy back in the building with a $5 hauler, my boy. Jonathan Bunchy Cobble says, Superflex Dynasty trade. Love and Zamir White for Bryce Young or Goff. Pickens at 1.10. I take Love and Zamir White in a... I don't want to say millisecond, but pretty much. Is Pickens so valuable with like Goff's good? Pickens is, I love him. 1.10 is very interesting, but no way, man. I'm keeping Love. Love's just like a star. Zamir White could be a star as well. I like the Love side by quite a bit. Arguable, I suppose, on some level, but I don't even really hesitate. Zamir Love is my choice, bro.
You've just been Smitty approved.
Assuming you're getting that side. Pittman would be a great number 2 for AR5 exactly. You put a Odunze in Indy, give him a true number 1. Pittman becomes great as a number 2. Dude did say it would be the highest a rookie wide receiver was drafted, not including running backs. I don't know what that means. Pickens' only good thing out of that offer, says Jeff. Love side, says Matt O. Yes, sir. I'd like to hear some Dak Prescott takes And I apparently my phone line's broken again. I'm sorry. Let me restart it. All right. I think it's reset. Dial in. I don't know.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Whenever we go that long without a call, I'm pretty confident I got to restart it. My bad. My bad for taking that long to notice. Herbert to MHJ. Do not put it past Harbaugh if J.J. McCarthy falls here to 5 for them to pick up the phone and just say, hey, Minnie, why don't you give us a lot for Herbert? We'll send Herbert there to Minnesota. You give us 11-23 and a future first rounder. We can't do. Okay. Wait for it. Ring, 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 ring. This is Harbaugh again. Okay. Relax. Let's negotiate here. We want the 11-23 and a future first rounder. We just can't do. Okay. Wait. Ring. Harbaugh. Okay. Can you give us something back like a 4th rounder? Done. There you go. Done deal. Trade made. Herbert goes to Minnesota. Throws to JJ for a lifetime. We're all happy. Just don't be surprised. Because this guy Harbaugh loves JJ McCarthy. And he wants to make this team his own. I'm not saying he doesn't feel like Herbert can be that guy, but he's more worried about running the ball than anything, and he loves J.J. McCarthy. So, and Knox says J.K. Dobbins. Oh, that's the other piece of news that I have. J.K. Dobbins has been cleared to potentially return, but he's coming off an Achilles tear. He's going to be a nothing burger. J.K. Dobbins is I'm not going near him. He's coming off an Achilles tear. Never in the history of the NFL has a running back, and this still remains true. I said it about Cam Akers. Everybody came from my neck. You'll see, Cam's going to be great. No running back in the history of the NFL has ever become or returned to top 10 running back form off an Achilles tear. Doesn't matter what other sport you want to throw at me, what other position you want to throw at me. Running back is different. Not only do you lose your window of time, not only does your shelf life expire while you're waiting to return and get back to full strength, because it does not happen in 1 year, but you're also rushing back, and the odds of J.K. Dobbins tearing his other Achilles tendon are extremely high, just like I told you that Cam Akers would tear another Achilles tendon. I said that. I told you. He did. Now, I'm not saying that Cousins and Aaron Rodgers are in the same boat at the same risk level. It's different. They're quarterbacks, and they're not even scrambling quarterbacks. It'd be different if it was Lamar. There'd be a tremendous amount of risk. But with a quarterback that doesn't scramble around, it's not a big risk at all. They're shuffling around. Like, it's about the explosion, hitting the hole. You're coming back way too early. J.K. Dobbins is not remotely close to being healthy. Cam Akers was nowhere near close to being healthy. This is a over 1 year recovery process for the actual Achilles to be strong enough to endure. And you can do it as a basketball player. You can do it as a wide receiver even potentially. It's going to be harder to do it as a wide receiver than a quarterback. But it is never, ever in the history of the NFL has a running back become top 10 after an Achilles tear. Ever. Ron Navy, you're live.
What's up, Smitty? And yes, the answer to the question is yes, you can have more than top five quarterbacks.
Yeah, I can. I do all the time. I'll say I got 6 top 5 guys for you. Here's number 1. That's one thing that people make fun of me about is I have 5 or 6 or 7 top 5 guys all the time, or I always have 12 or 13 or 14 top 10 guys, and it's true. I 100% admit it, but there's overlap. There's like they're all coming to like, who's my number one running back this year? That's easy. You ask me who my number one running back is this year, that's the easiest question you could ever ask me. It's Bijan, Breece Hall, Jahmyr Gibbs, Kyron Williams. That's my number one running. And then, McCaffrey's in there too. That's my number one running back. It's the easiest question I could ever get asked.
What about Saquon? You don't think he's going to be up there?
He'll definitely be. He'll be like right on that cusp of dancing with those guys, which is fantastic for him. That if he's a top 5 running back, that's great. I mean, he'll be dancing around there for sure. Like the Eagles are going to feed this man. The only reason why he would be a little bit outside, I mean, maybe in non-PPR he could definitely breach the top 5 and take like Gibbs out or take one of the receiving, like even Bijan in a way. He'll have so much receiving yards. Maybe Barkley could slip into a non-PPR top 5. But because the Eagles historically, do not throw to their RBs enough, we're relying on Kellen Moore breaking that trend to an extreme degree. And I think he will break it a little bit, but part of the onus is on Hurts, his impromptu check down. Like, this is going to be the same thing with JD5. JD5 in college, the reason, and there's a lot of knocks on JD5, a lot of people are worried about him. Where's my football? There's a lot of people that are worried about him in the way he played, because he would drop back, and instead of hitting a 5 or 6 yard, hook route or something, or a tight end just sitting there, wide open 6 yards down the field, he would tuck it and run. But the reason he would do that is because he's saying to himself, and he's doing all this in his head, spur of the moment, gut instinct, innate instinct. He's saying in his head, like everything slows down, and he sees the tight end there sitting there wide open. I can throw the football to him. He'll catch it, turn, have a tackler, bring him down maybe 1 or 2 yards downfield, will gain 7 or 8 yards. Whereas I'm going to tuck it, run, and almost guarantee myself a first down, and probably have a very decent shot at a 20-plus yard run, and having even, a small chance that I could run for a touchdown even 60 yards down the field. So Jaden Daniels has that innate instinct to calculate what is the better avenue. Throwing to him wide open doesn't make sense because I could get 10 yards this way. So that's the way he operates. The same thing could be said about, who was I talking about? I just sidetracked myself. What quarterback were we talking about, Ron?
Well, originally we were talking about Dak Prescott.
No. What just triggered me to say that? How did I lose my train of thought? Hold on.
We were talking about top quarterbacks.
I know. Jaden Daniels. What made me say Jaden Daniels? Hey, 941
called you about.
It called me about what?
Hello.
Yeah, 941 caller. Hold on one second. Ron, what did you just say?
I said then we got into the top 5 running backs and Saquon.
Saquon. There you go. Thank you. That's what. So Hurts is the same way. Exactly what I was thinking. Hurts is the same way. Hurts drops back, okay, and he's got decisions to make. Do I dump it off to this mediocre running back? No offense to Swift, but Swift was not Barkley, and I love Swift, but he's not Barkley. So Hurts is like, I love this guy. I've been handed to him all season long. He's been doing a good job, but I have bigger fish to fry here. Barkley's a whole different monster, and I think we will see Jalen Hurts have more tendency to trust him, especially without Kelsey, especially with certain situations that they start trusting the running back a little bit more with, and then it starts giving Hurts a reliance on other people. Because I think Hurts comes away from 2023 learning some lessons too. It was mostly offensive coordinating. You lose Shane Steichen to Indy. It hit really hard in 2023. The Sirianni trying to man the fort and take care of everything did not work. I think Hurts felt a sense of, I can't carry the team by myself, which there's nothing wrong with. No quarterback can. Lamar's been trying to do it, and he can't. That's why they're bringing in Derrick Henry. I believe Hurts will have some different tendencies this year, but I mostly believe Kellen Moore will throw to him. But back to full circle, at the end of the day, Philly just doesn't throw enough to the running back yet to move in PPR Barkley inside my top 5 when you got Breece Hall, reception king. Bijan, reception king. Gibbs, reception king. Kyron Williams, in my opinion, the league's leading rushing touchdown getter and league leading rushing yard getter. So that's why in McCaffrey, of course. So that's why I have Barkley at 6. 6, 7, 8. But that's fantastic. Like, if Barkley finishes as a overall first round player, and you're getting him in round 2, it's near win a league potential. Like, Barkley in round 2 is a freaking steal. A freaking steal. It's the most fantastic landing spot for him. I absolutely love it. And he's going to win. I'm so excited for Barkley. It's going to be one of the more exciting players to watch that's moved teams. I love it. 941 caller, what is your name and where are you calling from, bro?
Hey, my name is Romeo, and I'm calling from Florida.
Romeo from Florida. Don't get Ron started. Don't worry about where he's from. No, Romeo, what's going on, Romeo?
I'm where the Tampa Bay Bucks reside, you know what I'm saying?
Okay. What can I do for you? What can I do for you, Romeo?
So my take on Dak, I honestly think it's just bullshit if they re-sign him, honestly. I think that he's going to want way too much money. He's going to not bring them where they want to go. I think they're blue-balling themselves, honestly.
Yeah, it's kind of a family show there, Romeo. Let's keep it. I think you're probably right. And that's what they're thinking. And I also think that look, if you don't know whether you want to resign him or not right now, you're not going to be all that mad if you mess it up and he outplays what you expected, because at the end of the day, you either need to move on next year or not. And if he wins you a championship, then he's going to have some desire to stay as well. You know what I mean? So I think they're saying to themselves, look, he's going to, if things are cooking here and he wants to go try it somewhere else when we can still give him the bag, we can essentially try and match anything that comes his way, he'll stay. If they win a Super Bowl, he'll stay. If they don't win a Super Bowl, which I don't believe they will, I'm just saying that, then they're going to move on.
No, it's impossible.
They're going to move on. So they're already decided. He wins a Super Bowl, great. We'll be so happy. We'll deal with it then. But if he doesn't win a Super Bowl, which he won't, they're moving on. This is Dak's last year in Dallas.
Yeah, I think last year should have been his last year, honestly. He's just been blue balling them his whole career there.
Yeah, all right, Romeo, anything else?
Nah, man. Happy to be on the show, though.
All right, man.
Show. Keep it up.
Appreciate you. Later.
All right, take care.
Let's go over to Marsman Rock Out. Marsman Rock Out, what can I do for you, pal? Hit that like button. Hello? Marsman.
Hello? You don't have to put on the red dress.
What's up, Marsman Rock Out?
Yeah, what's your feelings on the report on Jaden McCarthy to the Commanders? They'll take him as the second pick. I'm like, why would you do that if you could trade down?
Because nobody knows where his value is right now. Plus, you're hearing a bunch of smoke, bro. Do you? And I don't think you really believe this, but it's a rhetorical question.
Yeah, I don't believe that.
Do you believe they're telegraphing what they're going to do? No. No one does. No one is. No one's letting anybody. These were GMs being asked. Rock Out, this is like them asking you or me. What do you think the Washington Commanders going to do? These are people that don't even really know good football. Like a lot of these like execs that they asked them, they don't even. They're botching things left and right themselves, and they're the ones telling you what Washington's going to do. Like, I don't. Yeah. Did anybody know what Adam Peters was going to do time and time again in San Francisco when he created one of the best rosters in the NFL? He drafted Kittle. He helped draft Brock Purdy. He helped draft player after player after player after player. Adam Peters knows ball, and anybody that thinks they know what he's thinking, they're out of their mind. Now, we have a good guess he's going to go with 4 or 5 guys. Like, everybody knows where he's probably leaning, but there's 0% chance the Washington Commanders have leaked any information on who they're taking. And this whole notion that the other GMs, that when they were asked who Washington is going to take, and they answered J.J. McCarthy, wow. And that's leading the newswire reports like the Washington Commanders are likely to take J.J. McCarthy now.
I'll talk to you later. I'm about to go on a fantasy football show.
You're on it right now, Seabass.
Hey, buddy. Sorry, man. I was just talking to my girlfriend.
Yeah. All right.
Listen, man. I want to hit you with a quick hitter about KC.
All right, go ahead, Seabass. Rock out, hang tight. Hold on. Seabass, go ahead.
You good?
All right, we good?
Yeah, we're good. Go ahead, Seabass. I didn't mean to interrupt
you. No
you.
chat.
You what?
I said long time no chat.
All right, what can I do for you, Seabass?
Listen, I love Rashee Rice. I want to come in big on him. And now in walks Marquise Brown. You got to lean one way or the other. Does Brown help Rashee Rice's overall numbers by the end of the year? Or does he drag them down?
He helps.
I'll hang up, buddy. Rock and roller. Love you.
All right, hey, appreciate you, Seabass. Seabass to the moon. I think he helps him. The bottom line is Mahomes is going to distribute the football enough that Hollywood Brown, he's traveling around team to team for a reason. He's not an elite wide receiver, but he's a fantastic wide receiver too for most teams. And that means he's not going to be some guaranteed 1,000-yard receiver. He's not any sort of double-digit guaranteed touchdown getter. And Mahomes is going to throw the ball so damn much, regardless, that he's not putting a dent into Rice's value. Not to mention, Travis Kelce's going to dial back probably some of his production, so you could just throw that over to Hollywood Brown and nothing even changes. So 100% not worried about Rashee Rice. If anything, this is the best news you could have gotten because it's such a good rookie wide receiver class, and the Chiefs will probably draft a rookie wide receiver, let me just tell you. But it's such a good rookie wide receiver class. You'd rather have Hollywood there, the journeyman, than a Leggett or Malachi Corley or somebody that could really put a threat on the target share. So 100% not a big. It's a good move. Very, very quietly good move. All right, Rock Out. I'm sorry. You're back. Rock Out. You're live. The microphone's yours. The football is yours. You can speak again. Sorry about Seabass. We appreciate you, Seabass. You are who you are. Don't apologize, Seabass. Go ahead, Rock Out.
Yeah, we're talking about J.J. McCartney.
Paul McCartney. Go ahead. Yeah, McCarthy is not a player that I would draft it to, and I don't know that he's a player that Washington Commanders will draft it to. A beat writer or somebody that asked 5 random GMs, we don't even know who they asked, told us that they're drafting. Also, let me ask you a question, okay? And this is hypothetical too. I mean, you can answer it. I'm the Arizona Cardinal I'm the New York Giant GM. Okay? And I like myself some Drake May. Okay? Let's pretend I'm a Drake May connoisseur. And I'm the Giants GM. And you ask me, who are the Commanders taking and the New England Patriots taking at 2 and 3? What in the hell do you think my response is going to be?
I don't know.
Do you think I'm going to say, hey, pick Drake May? Or, hey, they'll probably pick Drake May because he's so damn good we want him? Or am I going to say, I don't know, I kind of think Rattler and Milton probably are going to be the top 2 and 3 quarterbacks. I don't know why they'd take Drake May. I don't know why they'd take Drake May. Drake May wouldn't be a good pick. Let's get Drake May. I mean, come on. Like this is like watching, what's the draft day? It's like watching draft day. It's like, who? Tell me, Sonny, why should I not take this guy? Oh, I'm another GM. Let me tell you how to win. Let me give you an advantage. It's like that's not how it works. But yeah, I could care less what other GMs.
Bo Callahan.
Yeah, go, Bo Callahan. Nobody went to his birthday party.
Seattle.
Nobody went to his birthday party. At least Bo Callahan didn't crawl into mom's arms in the stadium. And I still have people coming at me going, Smitty, so and so cried, Aiyuk cried, Michael Jordan cried. Was it Clinton Portis that has the video meme where he's just like tears are pouring out of his eyes? Was that Clinton Portis? None of those are relevant to climbing into Mama's arms. What, Travis?
That's different.
Yeah, that's
Moreno was.
Noshawn Moreno, that's it. Noshawn Moreno. It was a Denver Bronco tie. I don't know why I thought Clinton Portis. Noshawn Moreno. There's that meme of him where he literally just starts pouring. It looks like a water faucet got turned on. But why do people keep messaging me Hey, Smitty. Aiyuk cried. Hey, Smitty. Jordan cries. Well, why are people... It's like saying, hey, Smitty, when the sun's out, hey, Smitty, the moon comes out at night. There's no relevance whatsoever. Crying is not a problem. Crying is not a problem. Like weeping in mama's arms in the stadium in front of everybody, so far different than that. I don't understand why people keep telling me, hey, Smitty, let me tell you, did you know so-and-so cried? Did you know Aiyuk cried? Are you mad at Aiyuk for crying? I'm fine with crying. I had tears in my eyes last night when I was watching that guy that gives MD Motivator of his Instagram posts and IG stuff where he goes up to random people and he goes, hey, do you have $1? I'm hungry. And they're like, I don't have much. I'm trying to go visit my family back home, but here's $1. And then he gives them like 50 grand. And I had tears in my eyes. No, there's nothing wrong with being emotional or having tears in your eyes or crying. There's nothing wrong with crying. Can I make that abundantly clear?
Crying in baseball.
It doesn't mean you're a weak person at all. Again, last night, flipping through TikTok, I had some, I didn't actually shed it. I just want to say, didn't matter if it did. I'd still be a man if I did. But I had some of the build-up, you know? Like where I had to be quiet for a second, make sure. Here's this person, doesn't have any money, and this guy's is amazing. MD Motivator, does anybody know who I'm talking about? It's one of the coolest, coolest TikTok. Yeah, the guy's the coolest TikTok. Him and Shaq. When Shaq gives out money to little kids or a little kid comes up to Shaq and hugs him, brings almost a tear to my eye every time. Do I feel like I'm less of a man? No. Crying is fine. I don't cry a lot at all. But the buildup could happen, and I hold back pretty good. But do I climb in my mother's arms in front of everybody and enter the fetal position? No. It's so far different. It's so far. It's weird to me. It's weird to me that people try and relate the two things. It's insane. All right. No Sean Moreno. No Sean Moreno. Who's on the phone right now? Ron Navy, Marsman Rockout, Travis. What else you got? What do you think about Dak? What do you think about Dak Prescott?
Well, that's what I was calling for. It's weird because I don't think Dak is like the greatest, but I find myself kind of standing up for him here and there because I understand the frustration from Cowboys fans. I just question. You may have. I had to step away for like 15 minutes, so you may have covered this, but the question I have for them is, who are you going to replace him with? Because there's a better than 50% chance if you move on, you're going to end up going within a couple of quarterback. So.
And that's what I said for about. I think you said you missed some of the show. I said for like
10 missed that.
Yeah, part. For like 10 minutes straight, I went on a rant saying I'm a Cardinals fan. Yeah, that's where we got the whole There's only brace yourself. There's only 5 top 5 quarterbacks. There's only 5 quarterbacks that are top 5.
Right where I stepped away.
Yeah. So basically what I'm insinuating there is if you can't get one of those quarterbacks, what are you really doing? Is Cardinal fans, is Kyler Murray a top 5 quarterback? No. He could play like one at times for sure, but you've got Stroud now. You still got Joseph Cigar Smoking Burrow. You got all the quarterbacks above him. You now got Lamar still in that conversation, even though people like to crap on Lamar left and right. You're talking about Kyler trying to fit into the top 7, top 8. And that doesn't mean the Cardinals can't win a Super Bowl with the number 8 or number 7 quarterback that can dance in the top 5 from time to time. But my point being that if, let's say the Cardinals continue to fail, let's say they get Marvin Harrison Jr., they play 3 straight years. They get to a playoff, lose first round, lose second round, lose second round. And 3 years have gone by. We've got Kyler and Marvin. 3 straight years we make the playoffs. 3 straight years we don't advance past round 2. And let's say only 1 or 2 years we advance past round 1. What do you do at that point? Hey, let's get rid of Kyler. He's the problem. And that's exactly what you just said. What I said earlier is it depends on the alternative. So if you're the Dallas Cowboys and you get Shedeur Sanders, maybe. But you don't even know if you're going to get him. So you're taking a big gamble that you're going to be able to trade into the number 1 overall pick next year to get him, because the Cowboys will play good enough to be at worst middle of the pack. So they don't have an opportunity to guarantee themselves Sanders. The only thing you could say is, like, would I rather have JD 5? There's only rookies. Only rookies can give you a little bit of hope that you could get one of those top 5, one of those Stroud type players. So if you have a chance to trade Dak for a pick that lands you JD 5, like, then I would be in that conversation of maybe there is a way to get maybe a top 5 or 6 quarterback, but you're taking a gamble there. You have no alternative but to roll with Dak. Now, what do the Cowboys do if they lose again this year? I don't know that they might even be worse for 4 or 5 years. Like, that's the problem. And ultimately, from a fantasy perspective, from a CeeDee Lamb ownership perspective, from just wanting CeeDee Lamb to be a top 5 wide receiver for a decade more, we don't want Dak gone. You know, like, we don't want him gone, because if he's gone, you don't know if the offense will change around the skill set of the incoming rookie that they bring in. You don't know if they're going to lose McCarthy at that point, and then they don't even have the same offense, because you just don't know. So, like, CeeDee Lamb could go from number 1, 2, or 3 this year to dropping to 7 in 2025 to dropping to like 7 or 8 or 9 for the rest of his career. Like, in situations that important. So, like, do I want Dak and the Cowboys losing? Yes. I'd rather have that.
And if you're a Cowboys fan, you also have to understand if you're moving on from Dak and you don't get a quarterback within like a year or two, CeeDee Lamb could very easily start saying, I want out. You could not have CeeDee Lamb on your team 2 years from now.
It's possible.
He's not going to want to just rot away on the peanuts, spinning its wheels. You know, being mediocre is the worst thing in the world. So I understand that they have great regular seasons, and it's almost like the Kirk Cousins situation. I think someone probably mentioned that too.
Guys,
Bite your tongue. Dak loses more big.
$50 boards.
Yeah, you're right. I'm not saying one's better or worse. I'm just saying it's a similar situation.
Can you guys hear me?
Dak is worse.
Can you guys hear me okay on the phone?
Can you hear Smitty?
Yeah, can you hear me okay on the phone line though?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I think when I switched to this camera angle, you guys are still getting me on the other mic. You guys are getting me a little bit further away, but the audience can hear me right here. So I just want to make sure the phone line. I'm gonna feel a little bit more far away, but as long as you can hear me. Rock out. You still there?
We could have messed with him, guys, and you guys blew it.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm here.
What's up, Rock out? What else you got?
What's your feeling on that hip tackle?
So as I said earlier in the show, I think that to a degree, I do think it's a dangerous play. But what I'm afraid is going to happen is they're going to lump in like relatives of the hip drop move. You know, if you're going to arrest everybody on the field that even goes near that tackle, or it's not even fully completed, then you start having no tackling, period. If it results in an injury or somebody like lands on a player's leg, because it is a dangerous play. It really, like, everybody that's saying that the NFL shouldn't ban it, like, they do need to ban it to a degree. It's very dangerous. It literally is almost a near certainty something's going to happen to you. Even if you don't get injured right then and there, the damage it can do to your body, and then like weeks later, a year later, whatever, the weird thing about ligaments and your body is, especially like your Achilles, is you create damage like every time you're on the field. And so that is a career ender. Like, that dragging and then landing on someone's legs on purpose is a bad move. I'd rather have that move removed than the horse collar. The horse collar is bad too, but the thing is, like, the horse collar and hip drop tackle, they got to really put that in a box, a finite box, and only ban that specific movement, not anything from the side, not like, you know, you're dragging somebody down and your arm's on their legs or something like that. I'm talking about you're literally grabbing them and you're trying to land right on the back of their knees. That is a bad play. But I'm just fearful the NFL is going to like clean sweep, connect everything, and then before you know it, it's flag football.
It's going to be hard to call and fly a lot of the time, I feel, because
out of all the teams, the Ravens are going to be the most happy about it.
If you see it intentionally happening, okay, but like, how many times does a guy end up under a guy by accident? Or to me, it's just like, where do we draw the line at? Guys are going to get hurt playing football, and you don't want to, get rid of certain plays like that if it's egregious. But like you said, it's getting to the point where do you tackle a guy?
Yeah, I don't know the answer, to be honest. Like, I think anybody that pretends they have the answer doesn't know the answer. I just know that when there's a high likelihood of injury on something, there is a problem. It also is a move you see people making that, I'm not saying it was invented like the last year or two, but it certainly is used differently. And people are learning to tackle that way. I don't know. I think you definitely want to avoid having, when something's like is connected to a season-ending injuries, as the hip drop tackle is, there's a reason the NFL team said, we don't want to lose our players, let's get rid of it. I know the fans are worried about it. I know the players. You're not hearing offensive players as much be like, oh yeah, dumb that they're removing this. You're hearing defensive guys. And so you're getting a very biased perspective. And granted, I agree with, as a fan, I don't want to see them dial back everything. And I think part of it too is the NFL is making so many changes at once. People are just like on their toes. They're like, you're changing the kickoff, you're changing the trade deadline, you're now telling us we can't tackle, and it's all coming at once. But the hip drop tackle is a bad play. It literally injures almost every running back or wide receiver that gets tackled that way, or tight end. Andrews, whatever. I mean, it takes out your Achilles, it takes out your ankle, it takes out your leg, it takes out your knee. I mean, this is probably the most dangerous play to the entire lower body. Like, the reason the hip drop tackle is so successful in injuring a player is because you're literally like trying to bypass every injury. Like, you pull someone down, land on their legs, you're lucky if you don't tear your ACL, you're lucky if you don't tear a meniscus, you're lucky if you don't break your leg, you're lucky if you don't break your ankle, and then you're lucky you don't have a torn Achilles. Like, this, it's different than like the horse collar. It's like, okay, you might tear someone's ACL, stop it. The hip drop tackle, it's like you're trying to avoid landmines the entire way down to the ground. And if you get up without one of those injuries, it's a good day. It's a real good day.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's my opinion. Punish players more, I don't know. Like, rather than just fine them, because money doesn't mean much.
Yeah.
In the long run.
Yeah.
You better have to suspend a guy a game or something, and I bet you they clean it up if you lose games. I know fans would hate that, but.
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know what the answer is. I just know that the answer isn't, they should just let players continue to get hurt by a single play.
No.
Yeah. Hey, I got a bright idea. Why don't we get rid of turf, go back to natural grass? If we're going to take away this and that, and we're going to try and be so worried about injuries as the NFL, let's get rid of turf. We're so worried about it because the NFL is not really worried about it. The NFL is worried about money. It's all about money. It's all about money.
Owners don't want to pay.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, you're worried about your pocketbook. You're not worried about the player. You're worried about the player not playing and you paying him. You're worried about this and that. But, like, players have made it very abundantly clear. You know what would be better to look out for us than the hip drop tackle ban or the kickoff? Let's prevent kickoffs altogether so no one gets hurt. Okay, we went too far. Let's now readjust the kickoffs. Like, we're all excited in a way that we're going to have some action on the kickoff. But what we're forgetting is they eliminated the action on kickoffs to begin with. So everybody's like, praising the NFL. The NFL is making the kickoffs exciting again. At least they're trying, right? They're the same decision makers that took away kickoffs. It's kind of like, in a way, it's kind of like these dumb leagues, no offense, that, PPR came out. PPR came out in the early 2000s. Well, it came out before that, but it became very prevalent in the early 2000s. And I admit, as a content creator that started in the early 2000s, I've been doing this 20 plus years professionally, that I struggled a little bit with PPR when it first came out in the early 2000s. 2005, I think, was when I changed my whole site over to PPR. It was a big push. Everybody did it to make wide receivers more valuable. Then all of a sudden, everyone's like, okay, now we need to add carries to give running backs value back. So now you get a point for every 5 carries you get. Then you're going to, quarterbacks are too valuable getting 6 points per TD pass. We need to dial that back down to 4. Now all of a sudden, quarterbacks are they're diminished in value. We got to add an extra position and now make it Superflex. Now I'm okay with Superflex. I'm okay with PPR. I'm not calling those leagues dumb. But then you just keep going, you keep giving and taking. All of a sudden, it's like now you got completion percentage. Now you got negative points for this and negative points for that. It's like people call into the show and, hey, Smitty, here's my scoring format. There's a big booklet you need to read before you can give me any advice. How are you going to get advice on the internet or on YouTube when your league doesn't follow the guidelines of any content creator out there? You're not going to get accurate advice. When people come to me and say, Smitty, what do I do on this? And I'm like, well, I don't know your scoring, bro. This scoring you're telling me is crazy. I really have no clue. Who was the number 1 wide receiver last year in the scoring? And it's some crazy name. And I'm like, yeah, that's a fun league. So I kind of feel like the NFL in that way is like restricting it, then trying to unrestrict it, then restrict it, then they're not happy with what they've done. We've made this NFL less points are being had. We want it higher scoring. So let's go ahead and do this. And it's like, before we know it, we can't even use statistics in the past anymore. We can't go, who's the best wide receiver in the league, and you look at numbers. You can't look at numbers anymore. Especially with the new kickoff rules, teams will be starting from the 35-yard line and beyond. So touchdowns are going to be more readily available. The red zone is going to be more readily available. I don't know what it does to yardage because the teams are just going to be back on the field quicker. So maybe it doesn't really affect yardage. We're not sure yet because they have a shorter field, but they'll be back on offense quicker. Teams will get more tired. Depth might become more important. Maybe more injuries happen because players are back on the field like that. I don't know. I don't know what the ramifications are, but it feels like they're trying to fix one. They're trying to plug one hole and then creating another hole in the boat. And I don't know. And it feels weird, bro.
Yeah. They're going to destroy themselves like baseball did. Just like baseball destroyed itself, it was the biggest sport, and then the NFL took the basketball, destroyed itself. The NFL will destroy itself with all their stupidity. Looking that way?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because fans are going to get tired of it. Fans, they're going to push it too far, and fans are going to be like, screw you. I'm not giving my money.
I never have believed that another league could threaten the NFL, but if it's done right and they get the right players to, like, let's say, join and go over, like, there's a little bit of a threat. Not right now. There's nothing in place right now. Anything in place right now has zero threat to the NFL. But the NFL is turning off so many fans that it wouldn't shock me if at the right specific time something came in, just like the right social media TikTok came in right at the perfect time and it blew up and everybody wanted to change. They got fatigue from everything else. So like you need to get the right players on board or something. But I wouldn't be shocked if 10 years from now, it wouldn't be 1 year from now, 2 years from now, nothing right now exists that worries me whatsoever. But like, I don't know. I just think the NFL is I don't know what they're doing, especially with these international games. It's all about money. It's all about freaking money. Like, does an international game help a regular fan? I'm not getting up at 6 a.m. Arizona time to watch that game. Unfortunately, that is a game where I don't get to watch until about halftime. And I'm live until like 1 or 2 a.m. the night before. This is ridiculous. Who cares about international games? No offense if you're across... No offense if anybody's across the ocean right now. I love you as a follower and a fan, but like, we don't need that.
Putting playoff games on exclusive streamers. That's
yeah. That didn't.
Peacock only.
Oh my God, Peacock.
You know, I didn't really necessarily like care too much until it did impact me once. I'm like, wait a minute, where's the game? And then I'm like, what in the hell's going on? I have almost every streaming service, so for me, I can understand the complaint for sure. But it impacted me once last year, and I was like, wait, where's the game at? But not everybody's in that position too. You know, not everybody can, especially like, look, sometimes it's not even about money. It's about you make decisions as a family. And, you know, you don't really have, you know, full authority sometimes in a family setting to be like, let's get every single network so I can be covered across the board. Because, you know, then you hear, you know, and this goes for the guys too. Maybe the missus is watching and the husband doesn't play fantasy football. Like you get a little flack. Like, hey, what do we need this channel? Like, why we got Peacock, you know, 6 months out of the year? What's going on here?
Yeah.
But I don't know.
It's like the overseas stuff. Like, if they have to put a team over there like they want to, that's going to be a mess because, like, the only way they can do it is they're going to have to make it so, like, whatever team's over there comes to the States and stays for, like, 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, I don't mean this isn't the World Football League.
Like every week.
This isn't the World Football League. It's not the world. Like, what are we doing opening up the NFL to the world? This isn't the Olympics. This isn't the World Football League. This isn't like,
it's called.
I know, but like create more greed inside the United States where teams can travel. Like Travis is saying, if one team is freaking in Europe and you're gonna tax everybody to constantly make this trip, and then that team has to half the time. You know, they're at a huge disadvantage. You couldn't even do something far. It'd have to be something very close. That'd be Canada.
If there's a team in Europe, they'd literally have to stay in the U.S. for like a month at a time.
I mean,
and then go over and be home for like
Canada. I'm fine with. You know, they're like our cousin. Yeah. They're like our cousin anyway. You know that the NHL, like we already know what that feels like. The MLB. We're fine with that. We're fine with Canada's like they're like. You know, to be honest with you, I don't even know if Canadians probably feel like they're you know living in the United States anyway in terms of sports.
Yep.
My Canadian. Hey, who do I have from Canada? I'll be honest. I don't even know if you guys have a government. Doesn't it feel like Canadians are just kind of hiding under the radar? They don't have any rules. They just kind of sit there quietly. Nobody messes with them. They're kind of living in.
You have one of your monitors is from Canada. Did you know that? Kenny's from Canada.
Kenny Powers is from Canada. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Is Kenny in here? We need a Canadian.
I
in here.
know that.
We need a Canadian in here to represent. Yeah. But I feel like Canada's fine. Like I'm fine with that. But like we go across the ocean. You know, that's crazy to put teams in that position. It is insane.
Nope. No
you know,
way.
not to mention you keep adding to things. You keep adding teams. You throw statistics out the window. You just throw, you know, you add, if you add 2 NFL teams.
Water things down.
Yeah, water things down. You change the rules. Now stats are meaningless. Quarterbacks are going to be throwing for 40 touchdowns, and they'll be named Danny Dimes. Danny Dimes will get you 35, 40 touchdowns, and he's going to be. All right, let's not get carried away. That was a joke. Prime Minister of Canada.
Yeah. Hey, I'll go visit my sister in Texas, and then when I get there, I'll walk over to Dak's house and ask him if he's planning on putting his house up for sale next year. He lives in the same neighborhood.
Yeah.
You do that, Ross.
Hey, he's right there. He's actually a good neighbor, though. He one of the kids, he didn't know the kids, but he was having a birthday party at the house, and Dak just stopped by and bought him all sorts of stuff and autographed all bunch of stuff, and nobody asked him to.
He sounds like a good guy, for sure.
He is a good guy.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with Dak Prescott as a person or whatever. I almost feel pretty bad for him, you know, how much flack he takes. Part of him probably wants out.
His brother. He's been through a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Part of him probably wants to get out of the Dallas spotlight in a way. Like, if they do lose, and he's going to want a new start anyway. But if they win a Super Bowl, he'll be back. And the Cowboys will want him back. He'll want to be back. He'll want to be back where he fits in. He's going to be loved by the entire fan base. Because that fan base, no offense, Cowboy fans, put your earmuffs on. But you'll either hate him 1 minute, or he'll be your savior, and you'll act like you never said a bad thing about him if he wins your Super Bowl. So he'll feel very loved. There'll be a quick uptick. What?
The Dallas fans aren't as hard on their players as the 49er fans.
Yeah.
They're close.
It's close, but
Yeah, let's not get
but
crazy.
Who's going to win the first Super Bowl, Cousins or Dak? You all going to say neither. I know you all.
Yeah, the problem with Cousins is I know you predicted him to win the. Did you predict him to win the Super Bowl or the championship game?
Super Bowl.
Championship.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. Anybody that doesn't know, the bowl prediction board is open. $50 predictions.
Okay.
I write them on the board, and if you win, and the chat will vote who the winner is. If you win, I don't know if you guys can hear me. If you win, you'll co-host at least one or two segments, but you'll be on screen if you want. You can be on the phone with a silhouette of you if you don't want, if you're camera shy. But the winner will be starting the show with me and doing at least one or two segments. And then we'll have a prize as well, and the chat will vote who the winner is. We did it last year. I collect about the top 10 or 12, and then we just kind of look around, and then the chat starts weeding through them. And so, anybody wants to drop those $50 prediction? I put it on the board as soon as your $50 hauler gets dropped on screen.
Hell, if I win, Smitty, you're not gonna video me on there. I'm coming right to the studio, bro.
Oh yeah. Hey, there you go. Is Danny Pennies, not Danny Dimes. That's correct. Danny Nichols. Let's give him at least. No, he's Danny Penny. Danny Penny. I agree. I agree. But to answer your question, Ron, ultimately, like, do I want the Falcons to win a Super Bowl? Of course I do. Like, I'll be rooting for it. I'm not rooting against that. That'd be fun. But, like, objectively, do I think that Cousins will play long enough to do that? I don't know about Super Bowl. Could he do what the Lions did? Like, just, I don't know, the Falcons just blow everybody out of the water. They're a Final Four team. Like, that could certainly be in the cards. I could see that happening. That's about where I don't draw the line, but I'm just saying my projection, like, kind of stops right there. But I would say, I don't know that, I think Dak probably has, his strongest shot will be right here, right now, 2024. And I don't know. I don't think he does it. I don't think he does it. I think both teams fall short. I think both teams can play very well up to that point.
You can't go against your own prediction.
Yeah. I mean,
Philly.
Yeah.
So you can't go against the prediction.
Yeah, I have one of my, and again, I can't win the contest, obviously, but my in the center of the board are my bowl predictions that I'm kind of dropping with you guys once in a while, but. NFC champs will be the Eagles. I think a lot of people will get behind that eventually. And then Fields, that other smaller one, right? Why can't I point to it? The angle of this camera is confusing me. Right there. Is Fields will be starting week 1. And be a top 6 or 10 quarterback. No. Anybody else want to call in, dial in for as long as the show is rocking? We won't be here forever, so your time is now. NFL is looking at their fan base just like the NBA now. Sports betting doesn't help. Yeah, this whole sports betting situation is getting crazy because I have a feeling that the NFL is going to crack down to the extreme degree, and you won't even see fan. And I predict this 2 or 3 years ago. And quite honestly, I don't know why the NFL hasn't done anything about it yet anyway. But Austin Eckler plays a lot of fantasy football. I'm in a league with him. Austin Eckler plays fantasy football. I was in a league with Darren Waller. He plays fantasy football. A lot of players play fantasy football. I don't really understand. I don't care if there's money involved or not, but when there's a reason for you to potentially have like bias involved, like I don't know how the NFL's let these guys play. I predict that no matter what, they're eventually going to take fantasy football away from players because they don't want any of this controversy at all. But the NBA is going through it right now with that player Porter, right?
Or it can be Josh Jacobs, doesn't care about your team.
Yeah, Jacobs definitely doesn't care. Jacobs blocked me on social media. I can't even view his Instagram. That's how unbiased I am. That even going at him, I went at him pretty hardcore because he threatened to fight all of his fans and he lied to his fan base and said I'm not playing today, and so everybody sat him, and then he laughed at everybody, and he was really, really mean to the fantasy community. So I went at him a little bit and he blocked me. And I'm telling you, he's a top 6 to 10 running back this year. So I'm a total unbiased man sitting in front of you.
That's why you're so down on him last year.
No, I'm not, because look at how much I'm for him, even though he blocked me. It doesn't affect anything. I was down on him for logical reasons that were 100% accurate. But I very much like his talent and in the right spot, which he is totally in the right spot. He's like a brand new Aaron Jones, like fresh, you know? He's got at least 2 years to be Aaron Jones 2.0. 1 to 2 years. I wouldn't give it more than 3.
What do you think, Aaron? Minnesota.
I think Aaron Jones can't stay healthy anymore. He's 29 years old now, right? Ziggy, how old is Aaron Jones? I think he's 29.
Eric Jones is 46 years old.
Whoa, 46 years old. Ziggy, how old is Aaron Jones?
46 years old. Wow.
83 years old.
83 years old. Ziggy, how old is Aaron Jones of the Minnesota Vikings? Let's help him.
Aaron Jones is 29 years old.
29. There he goes, 29. He went from 83 to 43 to, he was all over the place. 29 years old. Ziggy off.
A popular name.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Popular Smitty.
He's going to have a tough time. Ziggy, who is Smitty from the Fantasy Football Show?
From Viduli.com.
Ziggy off.
Dynasty.
He doesn't even know.
He doesn't even know the ball.
Ziggy, what is the Fantasy Football Show on YouTube?
Searching YouTube.
Let's see what he does.
Ziggy.
Come on, Ziggy. Pull it up. Do it. Do it live. Do it live, Ziggy. Do it live, pal. You got this. You got this. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on.
Come on, Ziggy, for one.
Come on. Come on.
Ziggy.
There he is. There he is. Look, he knows who I am. He knows who I am. Attaboy. Ziggy
Your
off.
Daddy.
There you go.
Who's your daddy now, Zigmeister? Anyway, Aaron Jones, 29 years old. I'll probably say he plays good per start, and he doesn't stay healthy. That's my final answer.
It's funny because he was so good the last 3 games of last year that people have that thought in their mind, like they remember the most recent thing. But he only played 11 games, and he really didn't. I don't know. He didn't even have a 100-yard game until those last 3 games. He had more than 73 yards in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So he wasn't even performing that well because of what he's banged up all year. And he only played 11 games, so it's just
it's kind of like
he's risky.
It's kind of like Cooper Kupp too. He's 30 years old last year and can't stay healthy, but he's amazing per start. Or he was good per start. He wasn't always amazing, but he played amazing at times per start. And now he enters the age of 31, and people are calling him wash. Austin Eckler played 28 years old, the final year where you can really ball out for almost 99% of running backs. And so you hold your breath, you held it, and you ended up crapping the bed. Like Eckler crapped the bed. Aaron Jones had that year last year too. So, I mean, Eckler and Aaron Jones both played their 28-year-old season, and they both crapped the bed. 30 years old is that same thing for wide receivers. Cooper Kupp played well when he was out there, but crapped the bed, which is so weird because Ziggy, how old is Keenan Allen?
Here's what I found.
He still got me up. Look, he still got me up.
31.
Oh, Ziggy off.
31.
He just, hold on. I got to go back to the home screen here. He's
Bill
still,
the Tickler said you should tell Zicky to call into the show.
He wouldn't know how to do that. Let me see if I can. Ziggy, restart. He's frozen.
To restart your device, unplug the power adapter from the back or from the wall outlet, and then plug it back in.
Oh, man. Ziggy, off. Let's see if we can restart him. Hold on. He doesn't even know how to restart himself. Ziggy, how old is... Who am I asking about?
James Biden is currently 74 years old.
James Biden, 74
No,
years. Who went? Oh, yeah. Ziggy, how old is Keenan Allen?
Keenan Allen is 31 years old and was born on April 27, 1992.
So April 27th, so he's turning 32, which is so crazy to me. So crazy to me that everyone's acting like Keenan Allen's immune to drop off this year. I'm telling you right now, the Bears might look like they've got something special, and I would have taken the gamble too because they traded like a ham sandwich for Keenan Allen. I'm not saying that I wouldn't do the same exact trade. The Bears did very, very well on paper with that trade, but I keep hearing everybody say things like, this is the best situation a rookie QB's ever been handed. He's got amazing options. Everyone's going to be blown away. I wouldn't be so quick to imagine Keenan Allen at 32 years old playing elite football for even 10 plus games. He's 32 years old and he's injury prone. And you can say he isn't all you want, but I believe he is. He's been banged up a lot in his career. And when you get to be 32 years old, your injuries trickle in. Like it's harder to stay healthy at 32 years old, especially if you're an injury prone player. What, Ron?
Well, yeah, in the early part of his career, but then he got over his injury bug, and he hasn't really been injured that much since.
Well, missing games is different than like he's still always on the injury report. But yeah, I mean, has he, like Christian McCaffrey was able to fend off injuries for a while now, but I still believe McCaffrey, those 2 years concern me. With all the mileage on top of it, like, and being 28 years old, I worry about him at this 28-year-old season. It feels very much like last year felt for Eckler for a lot of people. People are like, come on, Eckler came off the most amazing year in 2022. Why would he bust in 2023? He's only 28 years old. He hasn't been a between the tackle workhorse his entire career, and so he's got less mileage in that respect. He's going to be fine. And everyone's like, Eckler's dead. He's dead to everybody.
I'd love to be 28 again.
I know it really is. It really is crazy that RB's like 28 years old and they're dinosaurs, just straight up dinosaurs.
With McCaffrey, he had. I'm not saying this trend will keep because there's everything is different, but he had 2 years with over 200 carries, and then he got injured. And he had 244 carries and 272 carries. More carries back to back than he's ever had in his career.
Yeah, and the problem too is Shanahan overused him, overworked him, and he struggled with injury throughout the year to the point where there was a time where we were worried about whether he was going to play, and he would kind of figure his way back. Yeah.
He had that feather gun on him the whole time.
I know.
Every time he was on the sideline, he was holding that massage gun to his hammy.
And then there was a report that Shanahan's like, I didn't know he's even hurt. And you could believe that report if you want. Because every time he came off the field, they had the gun on him and he was grimacing. And he was struggling. Like he was clearly hurt. So either Shanahan is like just lying straight to our face saying he didn't know he was injured at all. Or B, he's unaware that he's definitely struggling through something. But he ended up, not playing through it. So, hats off to CMC. And I'm certainly not saying that I would avoid CMC in 2024. I'm more so saying I'm 100% not putting all my eggs in one basket. And if I've got the number 1 overall pick, it's very rare to get it. I would spend it on CMC. And then if I'm lucky enough to get the 2, 3, 4, 5, then I'm taking another player there anyway. But if I ended up getting in, like, let's say 4 of my redraft leagues, not best ball, 4 of my redraft leagues, let's say I only play in 4 of them. If I was lucky enough to get the number 1 overall pick in 2 of those leagues, I wouldn't take McCaffrey in both. I would take him in 1. I want my share of him in case this thing goes great again for 1 more year. I do not want to be the guy that doesn't own him, but I'm certainly not putting 2 leagues on the line. I will mix it up, and I am not bashful at all. I'm not a bashful Bobby at all when it comes to even taking Bijan that high or going wide receiver.
Bobby.
And honestly, there's good reasoning to go, with any of the top 4 running backs. Kyron, love Kyron. Anything else, boys? What?
And that put Purdy back in. You're talking about the same Shanahan that put Purdy back into the game against the Eagles, knowing that he was injured. So Shanahan really don't give a crap about the players if they're injured or not.
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely gonna.
He can.
Jonathan dropped another one. Packer fan here, love Jones, but pumped about JJ. Yeah, so you're just giving your respects to Aaron Jones. I don't blame you. Aaron Jones is amazing, for a while. So hats, but I'm excited for Jacobs for you as well, Bunchy. I think you're gonna have a good year, bro. Thank you for your super chats, by the way. Anything else, boys? We'll be back.
With all this smoke, you think we get 6 quarterbacks in the first round?
Oh yeah, in the first round, we might get 4.
Wow.
We might get 5 of them in the top 10.
We're blessed.
Well, that's
We're
what I'm
very
thinking.
blessed. We're very blessed. We got this guy called Fantasy God in the chat. And he goes, Ron is the worst. Nice guy, takes are awful. I love you too, Fantasy God. I'm glad we got a Fantasy God.
But
I
I think there's a good chance we get 4 straight QBs if the Cardinals trade out. If they don't trade out, then the Giants are taking 1. There's 4 right there. And then I think Bo Nix and Penix Jr. So 5, 6. I think there's very little chance we exit pick 14 overall without all of May, not in any particular order. May, Caleb, JD5, JJ McCarthy, Penix Jr., Bo Nix. I think we'll have all. Wait. So JD, let's see. Caleb, JD5, May, McCarthy, Bo Nix, Penix Jr. All 6 of them off the board by pick 14. But you never know.
Wow. Possible.
So
don't be.
Is that the most ever? 6
I think it'll be. Yeah, I think it'd be the most 6 go in that range. Yeah, but no one's ever gone QB. I think no draft.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, it's tough to say. Like you said, Arizona will be the deciding factor in that, and then it's hard to know what the Giants are going to do because you just sounds like they could take a QB, but they could just as easily take the wide receiver.
It'd be crazy to me. It'd be crazy to me if at 12 or 13 or 14 we don't see at least one of the QBs go there, Nix or Penix Jr. I think that would be crazy for all 3 of them to pass. That would be insane. The other thing too is like the Jets would be so smart to take Penix Jr. or Bo Nix. Bo Nix might even be smart, like you could say smarter. They develop him, especially the fact that like he reminds me a lot of Like his style of play is so Mahomes like off script, able to like while he's being tackled, switch arms and lateral the ball to a running back that's sitting there wide open. Like he's such a creative guy. The Jets would be so brilliant to bring in a quarterback to groom under Aaron Rodgers. It would be
not even that.
It would be unbelievable and protected.
Bo Nix was a transfer, and his transfer was great because it got him to Oregon, which that offense fit him better. And there's no other quarterback in the draft that has taken over 4,400 snaps in a college career.
Yeah.
He knows his stuff.
I wonder if Joe Milton or Rattler climb into the late 20s just because of, the drought you'll have from, let's say all 6 quarterbacks go by. If all 6 quarterbacks go by 14, then you have these teams like all passing. What?
I don't think Milton goes to the 3rd or 4th round.
Yeah. I just wonder if all 6 are gone, what happens? Like, does everybody just wait?
That changes things.
Does everybody just wait, or does somebody go, damn it, we need one. We need a quarterback. Miami would be ultra smart to go get Nix or Penix Jr., and they'd have to move up, of course. But, like, let's say Penix Jr. or Bo Nix fell. Let's just say they fell. The Rams would be idiotic not to get Bo Nix or Penix Jr. If they fall. The Miami Dolphins would be idiotic to not do that. The Pittsburgh Steelers no longer need it, but trade Russell Wilson for something, and then draft one of them. Dallas would be dumb if they passed on that opportunity if somehow it fell to 24. Would it be crazy to see Dallas like make a move? I mean, it would put unnecessary pressure on Dak, but like you don't know what's in store. Like you're clearly sending a message you don't believe he's your future.
Right.
I don't know.
So the first round could literally be half of the first round could be wide receiver and quarterback. Technically, I don't know if it would be quite that, but
yeah,
15 or 16. A lot of teams are going to be taking wide receivers too.
Mm-hmm. Back on the topic of Ridley real quick. I know you're probably a bigger supporter of Ridley this year than the average Bear. Travis, you're definitely not saying that he's an elite wide receiver 1, but you've definitely been on the, hey, I like Ridley a little more than I think most right now. This report here, it doesn't mean he's going to become Jamar Chase, obviously, but Brian Callahan saying that Ridley will play the role similar to Jamar in Tennessee. The problem is, I feel like it's something like this that could be, I don't know. It's something like this that could be so amped up, like amp people up that they start overdrafting him a little bit, and then I'm out again. Like right now, I'm okay with him as an elite wide receiver 3 in fantasy, and maybe a very cheap wide receiver 2, but probably not in a lot of leagues. But if he climbs into like high end wide receiver 2 value or borderline higher than that or something, then I'm completely out. I like Levis enough, but I think that there are a lot of mouths to feed in this situation, and I don't know if there's enough footballs to go around. I don't think Hopkins is done yet. I don't think he's necessarily going to stay healthy or consistent, but I feel like Ridley's in a way not in a better situation. I think he's in the exact same situation. He's got a wide receiver that's probably going to command a little bit more attention than you would like. But then again, I mean, he's been Hopkins has lived in double teams his entire career, so who the hell knows? Could make Ridley a star.
Well, yeah. Plus, the receivers there. There's more mouths to feed in Jacksonville than there is in Tennessee. That's for sure. Because I mean, you take out what's his name? I can't even remember his name no more. But he's like Mr.
Zay Jones.
Christian Kirk, Zay Jones.
No. Mr.
Trevor.
Asma in Tennessee. I mean,
who?
Their wide receiver that they drafted 2 years ago.
Oh, Burks, Treylon Burks.
Burks?
Yeah. He's easy to forget.
He's a nothing.
He's easy to forget.
He's a nothing bird. So,
Trade
other than
on. Well, I mean, look.
I mean,
I still believe Okonkwo is good. I think he was totally not used properly. So Okonkwo could command something and kind of rejuvenate a little bit. Spears will catch some footballs. He'll obviously be a major, utilized tool, and I still like him a lot. He's not on the Moon Man list, but maybe he could be because he's going to be a forgotten man now that Pollard is in town. Pollard could catch some balls. I think Levis probably. They try and maybe they throw as much, if not more, than Jacksonville. It's possible, but I don't know. I just don't know how I feel about Levis yet. And given that Ridley's not the clear number one, this makes me a little bit gun shy. But it doesn't mean I don't take a gamble here or there. It's certainly an interesting comment by Callahan.
Last year
maybe
we were huge on Ridley. Remember?
Oh, I remember.
We were huge on Ridley last year. We were drafting him high last year. Because we were huge on him, but I think we were a year early. I think
I hope
his year.
I hope I'm not. He's not a bust for me at all. I very much could.
The ADP is a big caveat.
Yeah, ADP for sure.
They paid him a lot of money, and I know teams can be stupid and waste guys, but I mean.
He got the bag, man.
He's a big part of their plans. He has to be a big part of their plans.
He robbed them, really. I mean, good God, $90 million, $50 million guaranteed off of a year. Like I would never have predicted him to land this deal coming off of the year he had, which was like a little better when you looked at the stats. Like you said, like at the end of the day, you're like, wow, really actually didn't do horrible, but he was very inconsistent. Not his fault, but to command $50 million guaranteed, $92 million, $23 million a year, 4-year deal. That's Aiyuk. That's Aiyuk's money. That's why Aiyuk is pissed off, and probably near close to requesting a trade, because now the money he would have accepted a month ago, 2 months ago, he will no longer probably accept, because Ridley is not the receiver that Aiyuk is, or at least he's not positioned to be. And Aiyuk is, going to look at himself differently now. And that's what's so funny about this Niners situation is, like, every deal that gets handed out is going to make Aiyuk want more money. It's going to put him further and further apart.
Tennessee.
Ridley hit the market at the right time. Is all that happened.
What do you think about this whole? I mean, Philadelphia fleeces Tennessee. They did it trade again. Tennessee made a stupid trade to Philly again. I mean, Philly fleeces Tennessee like Steelers fleeced Chicago.
Yeah. Steelers are making.
You see that trade?
Well, which one are you talking about, Ron?
The trades, the latest trade they made to Philly.
Which one?
It was defensive play. They traded defensive. I think it was defensive. It wasn't offense.
Yeah.
So you probably weren't even paying attention.
No, I was. I was trying to figure out what you're talking about. You're pulling a Denny the last couple of days. You're like the guy. Like the last couple of things you've said, you're like the guy. What? You remember the guy? The thing?
Yeah.
You know the trade?
It's the guy.
And then recent trade for. I forget the name. I'm sorry.
The guy.
I forgot
but we're used to it. Where Denny does this all the time.
About it today.
I've been blanking on stuff lately. There's something in the air. There's something in the air because I've been forgetting names lately. The last couple of days, I'm like, oh.
The chemtrails in the
I know
in the sky.
Yeah. Asher's coffee in the house. Asher, we need a Asher. Can you drop me a song about Dak Prescott right now on IG? Impromptu, drop it. I'm gonna check. I'm gonna refresh. I want it now, Asher. I'm gonna open up my.
Asher been? I haven't.
He's been making coffee.
Where you been?
He's been making coffee. He's busy making coffee. That guy's got a job to do.
That's just like Avatar. Avatar hasn't been around in what?
I don't know where Avatar is.
Months.
It's weird. Some people get a little footballed out and they come back. They're just taking a little break. Mark Cleveland always takes the entire offseason off. But Avatar needs to get back in on his horse. I don't know where he's been. And then we got, remember, DW. Where's DW been?
Yeah, DW, he fell off the face of the...
DW, if you're out there, we need you, pal. Not just because of the gifted memberships and super chats, although those help.
Maybe Herbst is DW, because you notice, like, DW was given, then all of a sudden he dropped off, and then Herbst came in and was just, he's been smashing it ever since. Maybe DW's Herbst in disguise.
Could be. Could be. Celebratory messages. Sick Nasty said Mahomes 53 INTs reversed last 6 years. What's that mean?
Oh, like he threw that many INTs that got reversed, but that's just because when he has a free play, he just chucks it up.
Yeah. I agree. I agree.
I saw a thing on that, and they were showing how many times he literally, which is smart in a way.
Oh yeah.
He sees the free play, and
that's a good quarterback.
He just fires it down the field. So
For sure. Seabass, you're back live. Keep it as clean as possible. I know you. Go ahead. What's up, guy?
I'm coming in 100, buddy. Listen, thanks to you, Tank Dell was a major contributor to me getting off the ground early in the season last year. I still like him.
We love him. Be thankful. I'm thankful. Are you thankful?
Yeah.
I'm thankful.
I am. Hey, listen, his ADP is pushed back because people are high on Nico Collins.
Yep.
I expect that to stay the same.
We do too. You're talking about a big difference between Dell. I'm very thankful of this, by the way, being a 4th rounder and Nico being a mid round 2 guy. And the difference between these are very, 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 very solid difference. I take Tank Dell and Achane in round 2 over Nico and a running back in round 4 all day long. 100%.
100% all day. And the reason I wanted to call in is just confirmation of that. And I think that's going to continue slowly towards, drafts and stuff like that. But as long as he stays healthy, there's no setbacks. He should be viewed, to me, as a 1A with Collins.
Yeah.
I'm not going to discredit Collins. He's
Correct.
a champ. He can get it done. He's done that. We've seen that. But Tank Dell's special, too.
Yeah, there's no reason that one should actually be ranked over the other. Like, if anything, they both should be, like, at the bottom of 3, dragging each other down value-wise a little bit. But it is kind of crazy that everyone's forgetting that Dell did pass Nico. There was a moment in fantasy, it was right before the injury, where everybody accepted that Dell was going to be the 1A and Nico the 1B. But as you just said, I think the rapport that Nico got to build with Stroud shouldn't be overlooked. The way that Nico developed and got polished, as a wide receiver skill set wise, can't be overlooked. But I think to assume Dell can't be on at least equal footing is a grave misstep, especially when you're gifted the information of that Dell goes around 4, Nico goes around 2. They're no longer equals at this point. Now Dell's more advantageous because he goes in 4, Nico goes in 2. And so
it'll be one of the biggest debates from here to September.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Seabass. Appreciate you, bro.
Thanks, buddy.
Later. Josh, you're live.
Hey, Smitty, how we doing?
What's up, Josh?
How you been?
I'm good, bro. Just kicking it. What can I do for you?
You taking my call today.
For sure. What's up?
Yeah, I kind of wanted to just talk about, I don't want to be a homer, but I'm a bit of a Cardinals fan. What's your outlook on the Cardinals? Is Kyler in for an MVP season, or am I just getting a little ahead of myself?
I mean, if they bring in Marvin Harrison Jr. at number 4 and don't trade the pick away, there's no reason that you can't have like a lofty expectation of, do I think he'll win MVP? No. But will he be like in the circle of quarterbacks being kicked around? He certainly could be. Like Purdy was in that conversation and Purdy wasn't the league MVP. So like you can creep into that conversation pretty easily as a quarterback if you're having a crazy, amazing season. And if Marvin Harrison Jr. is catching footballs from Kyler, there's no reason the Cardinals can't be what I believe to be a team that is going to look kind of like the Lions looked walking into this year after they had a great 2022, right? And the Houston Texans just dropped an amazing 2023 season and crept into the playoffs and looked really, really good. I think the Cardinals will look a little bit lesser than the Texans looked this year by the end of it all. I don't think they're a deep playoff team, but I think that they'll have some similarities to the Houston Texans in 2023 this past season coming out of the 2024 season. I think they're going to look that on the rise. This is a really, really good team that needs to be smart. My fear is that Monty Allenford has an instinct to trade for multiple picks. He loves draft picks. He loves taking stabs. And while I think he's good at talent evaluation, I don't want him to mess around with this Marvin Harrison Jr. pick. I don't want him to, and I'm really fearful that he's going to trade out of this pick. He said he's open for business. He made it a very, very big point to celebrate that he's open for business to trade it, and I did not like that. I as much as I would love an Odunze and an additional player. So let's say the Cardinals trade, and the most likely scenario is 11. Cardinals trade from 4 to 11, get to 23 in that trade. Minnesota Vikings take whoever they want at quarterback. If we can get a Odunze here at 11 and then another amazing player at 23, I'm kind of okay with that. I won't lie. I'll be a little bit down because I want Marvin Harrison Jr. I do think there's definitely a potential for him to be JJ and a potential for Odunze to be near Jamar Chase, but that's going to be wide receiver 4, 5, 6 capability versus being maybe the number 1 overall wide receiver in the National Football League of Marvin Harrison. So it's a step down for sure, but it's still a top 7 or 8 wide receiver potentially in Odunze. So it won't be the end of the world, but if the Cardinals don't mess up and they get at least Marvin Harrison or they get an additional 23 overall player on top of Odunze, the Cardinals could be a surprise team for sure. I really, really like what they're doing in Arizona. And I'm very critical about Kyler, and I have been in the past, but I think that things are looking up. He's maturing a lot. He's still a young man, and I like the way he's matured the last year.
Yeah, and I'm just hoping he's grown an inch or two over the offseason.
He hasn't.
But outside of that, he hasn't, you said?
No. He hasn't, unfortunately.
You
know who grew an inch in the offseason? Not this offseason, but the last one was CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb grew an inch. I think it was 2.5 years ago. He grew an inch while he was in the NFL. It was crazy.
In height?
Yeah.
Wow.
That was the report.
That's absurd. I mean, I've thought people don't grow at that age anymore.
Yeah, I don't know how true it is, but it's what they said.
Wow, that's absurd. Well, I think Kyler would benefit from a little bit of QB competition. I think to put a little pressure on him, bringing in a vet. Obviously, Jimmy G doesn't have the raw talent that Kyler has, but bringing in that vet presence definitely could add a little bit of pressure. And I think might force Kyler to elevate his game and leadership skills. I think you want to look for someone who's a great leader like Jimmy G, so that Kyler can kind of learn what it means to be a team captain.
Yeah. Okay, so I was wrong. It was not an inch; it was a half inch. Grew half of an inch. But that's still crazy. It was reported originally as a half inch to an inch, and I think somebody might have stretched that other report. But I found this right here. Lamb says he grew a half an inch and gained 10 pounds. This is in May of 2022. He reported this.
Wow. So, one last question. Is there a chance that the Cardinals go after Jimmy G in a trade? Like I said, I think Kyler would benefit from having a leader like Jimmy G around, just so that you can kind of learn what it means to be like a captain of a team.
Call terminated.
Jimmy G. Bad subject.
Jimmy G is not a leader.
Call back, Josh. I'll give you another chance, Josh. But the blasphemy that you just. as a fellow Cardinal fan, I can't believe you just said that. You can call back, Josh. We'll give you one more chance. Look, we already have Ritter. We already caught the Ritter. And now you want us to get Jimmy G'd? You want us to get Jimmy G'd after we just got Rittered. Not to mention, he's already a Los Angeles Ram.
Trade for him.
Josh, call back. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get so abruptly reactive.
Jimmy G.
Cool. He wants to trade for Jimmy G.
Yeah, call back. Call back. Call back, Josh. I'm sorry. Come back in. Come back in, Josh. I'm sorry. I got out of control there. I lost my temper. There he is. Hold on. Here he comes. Josh, I want to apologize. It was uncalled for by me, but it was also uncalled for by you to bring that trash in here.
What was?
The Jimmy Garoppolo question. I hung up on you. I admit it. I hung up on you. I pressed I hit the button.
I was in an elevator. I thought I lost you.
Okay, yeah, that's what happened then. You were in the elevator. I didn't mean the lines got crossed. Okay. Anyway,
why do you have such a vendetta against Jimmy G? He's a good dude.
Well,
no! Don't stop while you're ahead. Stop while you're ahead.
He might be a good.
Point taken.
He might be a good dude to some people, but bro, this guy's been robbing teams for years. He's a thief.
I mean, Smitty, you just got to do what's best for you. You know,
okay,
he's a
but
businessman.
This guy reported to the Raiders injured, and he didn't tell them, and they had to reschedule his unveiling party because he couldn't. Yes, he showed up injured, and they said, "Whoa! This is an announcement like press conference." It was to announce Jimmy G signing. He was going to sign right in front of everybody and speak at the podium. He showed up injured, didn't tell him, and they said, "Bro, you can't sign a contract with us. Now you're coming to us injured." So they were so pissed off at him. They rewrote his contract. Wow. They canceled the press conference, rewrote his contract, and said that in his contract, your guaranteed money is not even guaranteed anymore. We're not going to present you with an offer. And if you can't pass your physical, we owe you $0 and we cut you. So he signed his new contract.
Know that, so I apologize.
No, you don't have to apologize, bro. He did the same thing to the Niners. Showed up injured to the combine. Didn't return John and Kyle's phone calls. They said this. They go, he would not return a phone call. And because he was injured, he didn't want to tell me he was injured. They were trying to get rid of him all offseason. They couldn't. He showed up to the combine injured, or the news reports dropped while the combine was taking place, and then they couldn't trade him. And they're like, he's not answering any calls. He's hiding his injury again. And so he walks into this Raiders situation, and you know he's getting hurt. You know he's getting hurt because he can't stay healthy. What's he do? He gets hurt. There's nothing good about Jimmy G. Like, maybe he's a good locker room guy on some level. Sure, he changed the culture in San Francisco. All those things, I don't know about those things. Sure. But, like, Jimmy Garoppolo has zero upside. Absolutely zero upside in NFL and fantasy football especially. But I am very pissed off the Cardinals have Ritter. I'm very pissed off that the Cardinals our Cardinals, Josh, didn't trade a 6-rounder conditional to 4 to go get Justin Fields and keep Rondale Moore instead of trading Rondale Moore for Ritter. And the last thing I could handle, my blood pressure would go through the roof, is if the Cardinals had Ritter and Jimmy Garoppolo on the roster.
Oh my gosh! Smitty, just wait till they bring back Kenyon Drake. I mean, I don't know who could possibly ever believe in that guy. Who thought that was going to work out?
Well, I'd rather have Kenyon Drake than I have Jimmy Garoppolo. I'll tell you that right now. Bring Kenyon Drake.
Were you supportive of that move when that happened? Because that was
I liked Kenyon Drake. He had upside. There was a lot. There was a lot of potential in Kenyon Drake. He didn't work out, but that doesn't mean he didn't have upside. You know who else had amazing upside that never worked out? Lee Suggs. You know who else was a very, very good wide receiver that never worked out? Charles Rogers for the Lions. I mean, we can play this game all day long. The Cardinals have definitely botched opportunities. Beanie Wells, running back for the Cardinals, was supposed to be amazing. He never worked out. Remember how good that guy looked? That guy was going to be phenomenal. The Cardinals are a weird...
You could throw Maurice MJD in there, too.
the Cardinals bring in a lot of older, past their prime players. What team has had Emmitt Smith, Adrian Peterson, Larry Fitzgerald, DeAndre Hopkins, Kurt Warner, Chris Johnson? The Cardinals will take anybody. In I don't know if it's like, when somebody drops an injured player, like let's say JJ's out for the year and they cut JJ, and you just want to pick him up, just like so he can be on your roster. That's what the Cardinals do in real life football. It's like, let's bring everybody over. Now, Kurt Warner was still in his prime. He played amazing. Hopkins has had a great career, but there are a lot of players that the Cardinals bring in, and sometimes a player could leave and still do well. So look. Kenyon Drake had a lot of upside, but he definitely did not work out. And I'll admit, I was high on him. I thought he was gonna have a good career. He had a lot of upside.
I drafted him too, so I was disappointed because I guess I fell into the trap. But I will tell you something. I know you're very humble, Smitty. So I hope you take this compliment. You're able to take this compliment. But I think you would make a fantastic GM if that was something you wanted to pursue. I mean, I'm being saying that with 100% seriousness.
I don't take offense to it. Thank you, Josh. It was a low blow, but I'll take it.
I'm being serious. I think you would be a fantastic GM.
Thank you, Josh. I accept, and I as I always said, and I say this with humility, I'd either burn the franchise to the ground within a calendar year, or we win a Super Bowl within 2 or 3 years. I at least admit that I would potentially burn the entire thing to the ground with some bold moves, but I would bold prediction this thing out and architect something that you've never seen before. These NFL teams and commissioners and GMs that overvalue draft capital is beyond me. Christian McCaffrey for a second, a third, and fourth, that would never have flew on my watch. I would have even the doubt I had for Christian McCaffrey, even the doubt I have for Derrick Henry. Like, I still see logic and say, Derrick Henry, I don't know if he's going to stay healthy, but why did this team not get him? I can see all the logic in that. Christian McCaffrey, I would have given up 2 second-rounders, a third-rounder, and a fourth-rounder for Christian McCaffrey. The Niners would have never pulled that trade-off because I would have stepped in and overpaid. These NFL GMs that don't get Lamar Jackson for 2 first-rounders, ridiculous. These GMs and teams that don't go get Fields, in all this, Smitty, Poles was doing right by him. He wouldn't have traded Fields to any other team because Fields would have rejected it. That is the biggest bunch of BS I've ever heard, because you know what would have happened if a team stepped up and overpaid? They would have said, screw Fields' feelings. This is business. Ryan Poles would have got laughed at if a team came in and said, here's the third rounder. And he goes, no, I told him a 6th-rounder conditional. We got to do right by Fields. He wouldn't have done right by Fields, and I wouldn't have blamed him in that respect. If he did do that, turn down a 3rd-rounder to do right by Fields, everyone would have laughed at him. He would have been a laughingstock because it's business. But if I was the Cardinals, I would have traded a 3rd-rounder for Fields, unconditional. Brought him in, and you have Kyler and Fields plug and play. You have one of the scariest teams in the NFL because nothing can touch you at quarterback.
Yeah, you're right. Smitty, let me drop a piece of gold on you. Let me drop you a gold nugget.
Hit me.
I think people will go absolutely crazy for this if you started a series where, say, once a week, in between now and the season, and you don't have to take my advice, but I would be entertained by this. You select a team at random and you rotate through all, 32 teams, and you sit down for, say 30 minutes to an hour, and you put yourself in the spot of a GM for that team, and you really just discuss in depth what you would do if you were the GM of this team. I don't know if other people would be interested in that, but that to me would be extremely.
I'll tell you what we're going to do that's in that vein is that I'll be breaking down from a fantasy perspective, and then I'll have some touching on what would be better or whatever for the situation of every team. So eventually there will be a Cardinal stream followed by it, and there'll be a series of that where every team gets hit. But I don't know how much good it's going to do to try and change something we can't change. Like, hey, if I was the GM, I'd trade this and that. Like, I get it is entertaining, and anytime you want to ask me about a team, I'll tell you what I would do or whatever. That's fine too. But there will be something in that vein, in that we'll talk about each team and from a fantasy perspective what to expect, and I'll break down every single team in a live stream. Or I might, if I don't think I can get to that in enough time to finish it, I might do division. like go through 4 teams at a time, and that might be the move. But hey, Josh, appreciate you, bro. I'm sorry.
Yeah, one
Final
last thing. I guess I agree with you. Maybe because you would probably have this like a very similar view for all franchises, and it might be repetitive.
Yeah. I can be repetitive sometimes.
All right. Well, thanks again.
Hey, Josh, appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, appreciate you.
All right, later. Final thoughts. Rock out. I can't believe how offensive he was saying, Smitty, don't take offense to this, but I think you'd be a good GM. What a low blow. I was like, what's he going to say? Rock out. What can I do for you?
Shook his confidence with the Jimmy G stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think with Dak, the writing was on the wall the last 2 years, and I think this year's gonna be his last year probably.
Yeah. Look at him. He looks a little scared.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
He does. All right, Rock out. Appreciate you, bro. We'll be back tonight. Probably Dynasty channel later. Ron, any final thoughts?
Yeah. Steelers are going to trade up, and they're going to end up taking Marvin Harrison.
I don't know about that one.
There you go.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
What are you crazy?
I'm gonna say a likelihood of that's a 0 out of 10. But give us the trade offer. How's that going down?
They're probably going to do a trade with your Cardinals.
Okay, so the 20 and what? What are they sending? 20 and Pickens? What's the deal?
Yeah, I would do that. I'd send the 20 and Pickens. That's exactly what I was thinking about earlier.
Of course you would.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if the Cardinals would do it. I wouldn't.
I would.
I'd rather have Marvin Harrison Jr. I'd rather have Marvin Harrison Jr. I love George Pickens, I do, but I'd rather have Marvin. But the Cardinals do want capital, but I think that it would take something crazy, Ron. It would take, because the thing you're thinking about is
another first rounder.
The valuation you're holding on the 4 is for Marvin, but the valuation of the 4 is really quarterback valuable. The valuation is like, if you wanted to trade down from the 1 to 4, it would cost you multiple first rounders. And I'm not saying you're getting, like, so to trade from the 4 to the 20, that would require multiple first rounders and Pickens, because that is a massive drop. So you literally could request 2 first rounders to move from even 5 or 4 to 1 if you wanted. So I don't know. The 4 is a different pick than the 1, but I'm just saying that's a massive drop.
About the con man here. You're talking about the con man here that got Russell and got Fields for nothing.
Yeah.
Just
all right.
saying.
Well, we'll see what happens. I think that if I had to put a probability number on that, I'd say 0, but stranger things have happened. I would have said, I mean, just to be fair, Jacobs going to Green Bay felt like he wasn't even on the radar, really, for anybody. That wasn't something we talked about ever. Yeah. That was like a 5% chance of happening, probably. Look how that happened. The Cowboys not bringing in one of Barkley, Henry, or Josh Jacobs felt like I don't know. That felt like a near 0%. It really felt like it felt like a lock. And they didn't even contact Derrick Henry.
Jerry Jones and Bentley were on vacation.
I would say that's one of the most unpredictable, while we're on the Cowboys conversation of why they're crapping the bed. A lot of it's Jerry. I would have said that that's the most shocking thing we've seen so far this offseason is the Dallas Cowboys blaming a lot on not having the weapons, right? What do we need to do? Jerry literally looking like this is Jerry Jones like we've never seen him before. We've never seen Jerry Jones so distraught and so willing to write a blank check than coming off of that early embarrassing playoff loss. Jerry Jones looked like he was walking out of that scenario with a blank check that was going to go. Like, this is a different Jerry. Everybody says, Jerry won't spend. I was willing to bet that Jerry would do anything to get Derrick Henry, Jacobs, or Barkley. That is one of the most shocking things of the entire offseason. I mean, what a debacle. What a misstep by the Dallas Cowboys. And I think all Dallas Cowboy fans would probably agree for the most part, unless you're just blind to it. But that was a ridiculous debacle. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, they were out of nobody. No one.
Yeah.
Like, not even like a lesser back.
Like getting rid of Pollard, letting Pollard go would have been a major indicator that they were going to do something big.
Yeah.
Should have been. But they
all
didn't.
right. All right. Hey, boys, I got to run. Travis, anything? Final thought?
No, just be careful what you wish for when throwing Dak out the door. That's all.
I agree with you. Like I said earlier, it's like we don't want this for CeeDee Lamb. We don't want a divorce eventually happening because we don't know what's going to come down from that. All right. Appreciate you both. Later.
Later, Brad.
Later. All right. I'm out of here. I'll be back for the Dynasty show later, or maybe another breaking news show here on the channel. See you all later. Live Monday through Friday. Every single Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Live when big news breaks. Appreciate all my super chatters tonight, gifted members, all that. Celebratory message by Sick Nasty. Jonathan Cobble dropping 3 super chat monsters. What a beast. What a beast.
Legend has it if you say St. Brown 3 times in the dark in the bathroom, you will immediately lose your league.
But the continuum of the gigawatt component structure of Jahmyr Gibbs' workload divide has a megawatt offload that if you compartmentalize the component conjunction timekeeper and you flux capacitor out the continuum component megabolt, things just end up happening. And that's why Jahmyr Gibbs is a top 5 to 10 running back instead of top 6 to 10. See you all later tonight. Appreciate every single one of you. If you're watching from Twitter, make sure you get on over to the YouTube channel and subscribe because it's a much more interactive experience. And I don't know that we'll always be, streaming over to Twitterville. So get on over to YouTube. See you all later. Hit that thumb up button on the way out the door. We only got 88 thumbs up and still a total of 200 to 250 people and some total watching. Still about 75 to 100 from YouTube. Hit that thumb up button on the way out the door. See you all tonight, deuces. Use code Smitty on Underdog Fantasy. Promo code Smitty. They'll double your first deposit up to $100, broskies. Do it live. See you all in a bit.